G'day everybody, Shauno here, and I'm back with my second live stream of the 2026 pre-season. Today, welcome everybody. First of all, welcome everybody who's here and anyone watching this video in the future. Today we're going to be reviewing your teams. And I should have really put this up for starters. There we go. If you're quick, you already got a quick look at my team, but there you go. We're going to be reviewing your team. Before we do that, while we wait for a few people to roll up, we'll probably go through my team and show you a few changes I've made. If you haven't checked out my last couple of videos really, the last video where I did my February update, there's been a few changes since then. And my last video was super popular on how the stats you need to know before picking your rucks. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and check that one out as well. Now, if you want your team to be not so much reviewed, but if you want to check it out on stream with me and have a chat about it, there's still time. Go and join my Discord. There's a link up there in chat, and yeah, go and chuck your team in the Discord and we'll have a chat about it. A few other things we might go on about today. We might also talk about that ruck video a little bit, and we kind of did the same thing for the rookies because the ruck video was so popular, so we might have a chat about that as well. So before we get on with it, don't forget to join that Discord. There's lots of very knowledgeable people in there which can help us out, not just you but me as well, with our teams. And subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, like this video, and if you're watching the video in the future, leave me a comment. YouTube loves all those things and they help me out a lot. So yep, once again, let's get into it, and we will start as we usually do. We'll go through my team at the beginning and then wait for a few people to roll up, and then we're going to go through their teams. If you're out there in chat, say hi like that. All right. Okay, so here we go. Here's the latest version of my team, and you might say, hey Sean, you seem to change your team like you change your underpants, and I would say you're probably correct, except for one particular thing that's not correct about that statement is I probably change my team more often. Yes, I probably jump on every day with my team and have a bit of a play, and I listen to the track watches and things like that. I don't really like cheese. How are you, mate? How are you, Cheese? Doing well. We've got your team ready to go, so your team is definitely there. So since you're in chat, and I got a feeling Pure might also be in chat, we can definitely do your teams while you guys are here and see if the other people's teams, if they roll up. If not, we'll do them afterwards. We've got about 4 or 5 teams to do so far, but like I said, it's not too late. Join the Discord, throw your team in there, and we will do it today. So yep, team looks a bit like this. We got backline is Sinclair, Whitfield, Rosie. Now we love Sinclair and Whitfield, but out of the two, Whitfield is the lock for me. If you're not sure why, go back and check out my player spotlight video I did on Whitfield. As far as I'm concerned, he was the #1 midfielder last year. If you take out, well, he was. If you take out his injury affected game, he was the #1 midfielder. So Sinclair with Nasser's move to the midfield, I think is really good. I really want him, but having both of these guys, and you'll see later on down there I've got Flanders as well, all 3 of them out in the same round, it was a bit tricky. So I actually had Jordan Clark there instead of Sinclair for a little bit, and then he got injured. We're not too sure of the severity of that injury yet. We had a report in a sim game that he went off not looking too happy. So for the moment, I put Sinclair back there. Then we go down to Coleman. I do have a way of getting Coleman up to a McKercher or a Bergman or a Nick Newman if we like it. Just at the moment, out of all those mid prices, I figure Coleman's the cheapest. Track watchers say he's doing well, so he's got the least chance of biting me in the backside if everything goes wrong. It'll be harder to get him up to a player that, that's worthwhile having. If he does fail, I'll probably have to go down to a rookie. But, if I've got a McKercher or a Bergman and I've got other problems that I can't get rid of them, I'd probably prefer to be having problems with a 230k player than a 450k player. Hey, Masturbator, how you going? I like your name. Presty had done a hammy. Oh, no. Oh no, you poor Richmond supporters. Yes, he is another one held together with sticky tape. As you might see from my midfield, I actually have, well, we'll say we got the Bont in. The more the season goes on, the preseason goes on, the more I'm trying to find a way to lock Bont in. Even at that price, I think he's still worthwhile. And I watched a very interesting video from the Swordplay Boys. A bit of a shout out to Swordplay Boys. If you're not following or subscribed to them and checking out those videos, you're really missing out. And they had one of the ex-winners on, and he said Bont's locked in his team, and a lot of them, you know, just mainly for the captain choice and just because he knows, you know, what he can do. He said he likes 4 big captain choices, and I like that as well. I'm prepared to pay up. And he also said with the early buys, you have to expect that player to score 5 points more per match than the player you're picking who doesn't have to buy. And I'm pretty confident Bont can do that. Not just 5 points, but maybe a lot more. Cheese says, I love mucking around with the team every day, but I usually stick to what you've got until the changes at M4, until it changes at M4 or M1 spots until round 0, really. Yeah, I've got this type of team, or the team that I showed in the February update, and that's the team I've kind of got locked in, even if I play around with it, until we see the round 0 and the practice matches. So Bont, Butters, Brayshaw. I did have Finn Callahan here for a while. Brayshaw is here mainly because he doesn't have an early buy. Merritt, again, he doesn't have the early buy. This could be Parrish and free up some money to get a McKercher or a Bergman or a Nick Newman. Young, Farrow for that DPP status. He's all there's good talk about him down the Essendon camp. Sharp, Smith, Rashenko, Carroll and Schoenberg. Carroll and Schoenberg are firming up as likely rookie choices. I'm going to move up this way a little bit. In the rucks, we've got Sherry and English. If you watch that ruck video, I tried to talk myself out of getting Sherry, but I still think his run at the beginning of the season is awesome. And even with the new rules, the opponents he's got, I think he's going to crush them. So in an ideal world, I'd have Sherry and Gawn, but they cost too much. And I still think there's a good chance they're going to be the best 2 rucks, even though if we go back and have a little look at those ruck details later on, I think English could be right up there this year. Yeah, Parrish. I mean, Masturbator, I hope that... I don't hope that anyone gets injured, but if he just did it pre-season, it'd save us all picking him and we can just, like, go to somewhere else. You know, if he was, you know, out for the first few rounds, nothing serious, and then we could think about getting him when he got back in, you know. But having him in the beginning of the team and him like playing 2 weeks and then 2 weeks and then getting injured and, you know, not getting you that 100 that you want and not getting you that cash gen could be very painful. So I want to avoid, but if he starts the season, all the track watchers are saying he's doing really well and he's in the best fitness he's ever been, which you hear about everybody, I guess I'll probably be picking him. That'll free me up some money. Who knows? That money might make English into Gawn. Yeah, well, like I said, it might make one of these back guys into a McKercher, Bergman, or a Nick Newman. Then Sheasel, Petrarca. I'm pretty locked on Petrarca here. The more I did a video as well, a spotlight video on him, if you want to go back and check that out. And I pretty much talked myself into thinking that he's easily going to be top 2 to top 3 forwards. Unless something miraculous happens, I think he could easily... I think he could outscore Harry Sheasel, to be honest. But yet to be seen whether that's going to be happening. Probably not. Sheasel is the man, and I love him, and I expect him to get the #1 position. But Petrarca, he has the runs on the board in the past. If he gets enough centre bounce attendances, which looks like in sim matches he has been, he's going to be very good. Especially with the rumours that Torque Miller might be playing off half back. So that's going to make sure take Torque Miller's centre bounce tendencies right down. So that could be an interesting watch as well. The usual Philippou, Marshall, Robertson. Before I had Buderick in this spot. I still like Buderick, but I wanted to free up some money, so that's why I did that. And Brody down here on the bench. And we got Reedy, Lombard, and Murphy on the side. So not a massive amount of changes, just a few little tweaks here and there. maybe to counter the early season buys, I'd be very interested to know what you guys think. How many players are too many to have out on the early season buys? I was speaking to another guy in the comments of one of my videos, and he said he had 2 out, and I was like, what, 2 each week? And he was like, no, 2 overall. And then I said, well, how many of these players do you have on the round 12 buy? We have a look at the buys. I'm like, this dodgy round 12 buy that none of us like, and he said he only had 4 out, I think. I'm like, who is this guy? I asked him to put his team in the chat. I don't think he did in Discord. I really wanted to see who the premiums he was picking, because I don't know, there's a few premiums there that I just don't think I can dodge, who are playing these early buys. The Whitfields, the Sinclair. I'm certainly not dropping Flanders. So I was really interested to know what premiums have. How many do you guys think in chat? I'd really be interested to know. How many have you got in your team at the moment? And how many do you think is too many in the early buys? And then this round 12 buy, I wouldn't like any more than 5. A few of the variations of my team have 6, but I really don't want more than 5 in that. So that might also dictate how my team looks. I would hate to drop Petrarca, but if I have to make sure I've only got 5 in this buy, then I have to. But we'll see once round 0 comes. I got a feeling, I heard someone else say that I think Petrarca's going to make us all pick him after round 0. I got a feeling he's going to do the same. He's going to come out and smash like 115. He's going to smash between 100 and 125, and then everyone's going to pick him. But we shall see. But yeah, I'm very interested to know, you guys, how many do you think are too many? So if we're counting for me, so this round 2, you only count premiums, you don't count rookies. So I got none in round 2. Round 3, I got the Bont, English, and Petrarca. So that's 3. And then round 4, I've got Sinclair, Whitfield, and Flanders. And so I got 6 in this variation of my team, with the Brayshaw and Merritt, where I had Finn Callaghan in one of these spots before, and that would make 7. Yeah, I'm not too sure if that's too many. Clark apparently got a bit injured. Masturbate. Well, we should call it masturbator. Either way, sounds hilarious. Yeah, so Clark, I had Clark in this team instead of Sinclair to free up some money and just to have 1 less player. So then I only had 5 on the early buys, but apparently he got a bit injured, so I need to see what's happening with that injury. He's not going to play the this match coming up, the State of Origin match, and we'll have to see. I'd want to see him play the practice matches and before I can feel comfortable picking him. I wouldn't have Brayshaw and Sarong. I was really tossing up between Brayshaw and Sarong. I like Sarong's price, but I did you know, if you watch my ruck video, you know I like to use AI. I asked AI to compare them both, and AI said that Sarong is there's a very high chance of tags in the first month of football. So he could get some really, really hard tags in that first month. And so that's why I'm fading him a little bit, because we know he struggles with the tag a little bit, or he did last year. So I'm just a little bit worried if I pick him that he's going to have a really slow first month. He might be someone, if he does, we can pick up. You know, if he gets hard tagged a few times, we might be able to pick him up really cheap. And that's why Merritt made the team. And the same, I'm a little bit scared about Merritt. If he plays a little bit half back like he did last year, his scores could be down. But in sim matches, he's been the main man in the midfield. So, you know, we'll see. Young and Jackson, that's probably how he's avoiding him. Yeah, Young is fine. I'm not counting Young. Well, I'm thinking the Young can be a premium. A lot of people are saying he's not. I think he can be an M8, but I wouldn't count on it. It's the only thing. Jackson, I did the AI thing with Jackson and the Rucks as well. The problem with Jackson is he will score more than last year, I think, because of his mobility and the new rules and his ability to get to ruck contests that Darcy doesn't play. But the fact of the matter is, when Darcy does play, his averages are very low. You're paying 600k for basically a midfielder. So you have to expect as a midfielder, he's going to score the same as like a Brayshaw or a Finn Callaghan. And I don't know if he is with Darcy in the team. Maybe he will. If he does, I mean, I would really like to pick him. And if Darcy wasn't in the team, he'd be one of my first picks straight away. Anytime, if there's any news that Darcy's either dropped from the team or, you know, not playing due to injury for 5 or 6 rounds, Luke Jackson, get in my team. Cheese says he has anywhere from 5 to 8 on early buys. Think he can have 1 per line every week. Going 2 on a line for early buys could be a stretch, but you've done it anyway with Widders. Yeah, so I've done the same. So that's exactly what the guy that last year's champion, I think it was, JP, said on Swordplay. Which I don't really think it matters so much how many in line, because you're still going to get 18 minimum on the field easy. It's not like the mid-season buys where how many primos you got out per line makes a big deal. In the pre-season games, like, most of your rookies should be playing. You know, if all your rookies are not playing by round 4, you've been really unlucky, or you picked the wrong rookies to start the season. You picked the slightly unreliable ones, which we'll have a bit of a talk about later on. But I think having some reliable rookies early on, even if you have to pay up for them, might be worthwhile. And that's same if Merrick goes down to Parish, I can afford some of these more expensive rookies like the Dersmas or the Eulans of the world. Also like a few other more expensive ones. I don't have Grill in this team, which I like Grill, and I don't have the other Richmond boy, Cummings. Are you a Freo supporter, masturbator? I mean, sorry, a Richmond supporter? Would you letting us know about Prestia? Green dots all the way, yeah. So at that time of the season, getting 18 on the field shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. And you've got 3 trades, which you're probably going to be burning early anyway to sort out any rookie mistakes you made. So I'm not worried about getting 18 on the field. I'm more worried about a combined over the rounds. So how many have I got out on the round? So you're 1 per line. So this, I've got 2 here and 1 here. But I'm saying if you're not picking these, if you're not picking 2 of the big dogs, you must be going mid-price badness in the back line, because all the big dogs, Sinclair, Nass, Whitfield, Lockie Ash, I'd be a little bit dubious about picking Lockie Ash this year. I'd like to see him back it up for a 2nd year in a row. He was awesome last year and he had his breakout year, but sometimes players have their breakout year and then they don't hold it or they don't go forward. So I'd be a little bit wary about picking him unless you have a good look at him in the preseason matches. Hey Pure, how are you, mate? We've got your team to do later on as well. So anyway, that's a little bit. So we decided I had 6, and the only way I think I can get less than 6 is to drop Petrarca and get 5, or English. Maybe we could can we afford Gorn? Can't afford Gorn. Oh well. How much we got? 51k in the bank in this variation of the team. So yeah. Anyway, to Walsh after his bite, I think Walsh could be very good. Another one that's had a few injuries, but I still think he could be very good. Has he got that massive ceiling? I think on a good day he has got a massive ceiling. He can go there. Yeah, Cheese, this is a good discussion. And so I don't know how many of you guys and girls watched my ruck video where I went through and did the AI and asked about the ruck rules. Well, I did the same thing for rookies, but I asked who it thought was the most reliable to play. And after we've done your teams, we'll go through and do that. And how many we got? We've got 14 people now. We can do that now if you want. Let's see in chat. If you want to do that now, we can do that. I think we've got 4 or 5 teams tonight. Why the no Ewan? That's exactly right, Steve. So I've got the money to get in if I go down from Merit to Parish. the thing is, at 200k, he's got an average. And thank you for Pure to sending this through, and thank you for the in between the arcs guys for doing this. I don't know if you guys can see it. At 200k to make 150k after 8 rounds, he's got an average 72. That's not to score a once-off hit like the other rookies have to get, you know, one peak score for 80 or 70. That's a 72 every week. I don't know if he can do that. But, Steve, if I see him taking kickouts and it looks like he's, you know, a best 23 in that team, I'll probably pick him. So I'm definitely looking at him, and he's rated in the AI ratings I did. He's rated as one of the highest who they think have job security, where I find it hard to believe you can just walk into that Gold Coast team, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is a position for him. Yeah, Ballard. Yep. I also like down the front here, I like Buderick for 240 over some of these cheaper guys. I think Buderick paying that extra 40k and having him playing defense is a lock in that position. But thank you, Steve. You too, mate. Good luck to everybody this year. I hope we all do well. And if you haven't already joined my Discord, join the Discord, and we're going to all try and help each other do better. And so, yeah, we have, and that's why I love these videos, right, crew? We can have a bit of a chat. I don't claim to know everything. I want to know what you guys think as well. Like about how many you think is reasonable to have out in the buys. That's why I think is the best thing. We have a diplomatic discussion, as we could say, about what we think is the best, and then we come to our own conclusions. I'm not going to claim that I know everything. I actually love chatting to the community, and I know there are some very, very good players out there who have come and hanged out with us in the live streams before, and hopefully they'll join the Discord for this year, and so we can pick their brains as well and find out what they know, what they know more than we do. 120 gain, yep. So if you, that's right. If you average a 51, if you're 120, I'll show you that again. So if you're a 120k guy, you only really have to average a 51 to make 120, or 57 to make 150k, and your rookies are there to make your money. Let's not beat around the bush. They're not there to stay around forever. They're to make you money as quickly as possible and to cull them. But if they're not reliable and they get dropped like seemed to happen last year, I'm looking at you, Minnie McWalter and the Eagles, who dropped your bloody rookies after every 2 matches by the seams, by what it looked like. As an Eagles supporter, it seemed to be every time a rookie either was about to go up money or it started to look half decent, Minnie McWalter dropped them. So if that happens, you know, that's a big deal. That's a problem. Then you've got some rookie sitting around on your bench not making you any money. And that's where paying up for the higher price rookies can sometimes pay off. Handy chart. That is a handy chart. I can put that in my Discord, I think, as well, if you guys want to check it out. Or you can go to the boys, the in between the arcs guys, and I'm sure they've got it somewhere where you can go. Yeah, Camparelli, and he was a 0 forever, hey? Okay, that's right. Last year was probably the worst year I've ever seen for rookies, as in getting dropped. Again, Minnie Walter, don't do that again. And for the sub rule, which was brutal for people like Sid Draper and stuff like that. We might as well see what we talk about. I'll show you it quickly now, and then we'll get on to people's teams. So here's what I asked AI. Okay, to rank the top 20 rookies, I had to go put them all in manually, which was a pain in the backside, but I do it for you guys because I love the community. But it took me a while, and I asked it to rank twice, one under job security and one under who it thinks is going to make the most money. So Jaeger Smith thinks elite job security, and it's priced at, 300k. That's why we've all got him. Liam Reedy, he reckons the job security is elite. I don't know about that. AI is not always right. Let's just face it. AI is excellent, and it's great for giving us an idea, but it's not an oracle, and it's not always right. If Liam Reedy plays in his #1 ruck, it says Pitnett throat out. Well, Pitnett, yes, does have a throat issue, but it doesn't mean he's out for round 1. If he's a solo ruck, yeah, it could be elite, But then what if Pittner comes back on round 2 or 3? So I don't agree with this one at all. 3 though, it's got Ewan in 3. It reckons he'll make 255k, and it reckons his job security is elite. Well, again, I'd like to see that. I want to see him play all the practice matches. I want to see him play round 0, and I want to see him getting basically 80 plus. If he does it, if I see him play and he gets a 50 or a 60, he's not in my team. If I see him and he gets a 70 or an 80, he could be in my team. The only thing will sway me is if the other rookies look super shaky on their job security. So Kitty Coleman, elite. Again, there's a lot of competition back there. I'm not sure if elite is the correct term, but I reckon he'll make 285. Jai Sarong, I reckon it's high. Job security, placed him at number 5. Reckons to make 185k. Dylan Sharp, high, 240k. Lombard, high, 235. Gibcus, high, 210. So as you can see, this is what I'll go, and you can pause it if you like in the future and see. Annabelle high, so I don't know how Daniel Annabelle makes the team, but they are saying down there at the track watchers that he's looking very good and they think he'll be in the team. I think he's one that if he's in the team, I'll probably pick him, even at this higher price. Dersma, I don't know. Again, if he comes out in the Eagles preseason matches and he scores, I assume he's going to be on the field. He's going to be on the field all the time. He's going to play that wing role. If he can score 80s pluses, I might just get him. But I'm just worried playing that wing role, he might not get a decent score. Lindsay high. Samuel Cumming, he's another guy. He's a little bit, I think this is not the correct price. I think he's more like 175 or 85 from Richmond. So I think that's, if he was at this price, I'd probably lock him in if he plays. Connor Buderick, as you can see, is a higher price, but I put him in there because he was in my team. Harry Dean, medium. Grills, medium. So Todd Marshall, I don't think Todd Marshall is job security's only medium. I think it's pretty solid. So I'm not saying that this is a great chart, but I'm just saying this is what AI said. Yeah, rookies, yeah, Kako could be a slow burn. Don't really want any of those. Cooper Simpson, I had him in my team. Didn't he got another little injury or something? Otherwise, he could be a good pickup at some point this year. It was carnage last year. Who was the worst rookie last year? Never. My worst rookie was Tom Gross because I burned a 3 trader, whatever you call it. I'm having a brain fade. Third tall doesn't fill me with confidence though. If only he could be the number 1 ruck. Good thing is they compare him to Luke Jackson, so he might be able to get a bit of ground ball too. When the other big forwards bring the ball to the ground, maybe he's the one that gets it. In the forwards line, you got Philippou, Robertson, Lombard, Sarong, Tobin Murray, Buderick, and Todd Marshall. So that's what AI said. Do I agree with all of it? No, but it was interesting to have a look. I'm going to do the same thing once we've seen some practice matches. We'll see if AI changes its tune once we've seen some practice matches. So I think it's about that time. If he's named the wing, you're going to pick him pure. Even if he's named at all, you're going to pick him basically then. Unless he's like named forward pocket. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Do you think AI is talking out of its backside? Anyway, I think it's time we got on to your teams. So you were here first, Cheese. So we'll do your team first. Get rid of this. Thank you again for the Between the Arts guys. Please go and give them a subscribe and a follow. Still time, crew. If you're here now, to pop your team in the Discord. We'll come back. Cheese, here is your team. Now, it's a bit like this. So there we go. I thought this was going to be hard to see, but it's actually not too bad. So, okay. Here is Mr. Cheese's team. You still with us, Cheese? Yeah. Brayshaw. I think Brayshaw could have a big season if Young is in the team as well. I think Sarong is the one going to get tagged, and this is another little conversation too, right? A lot of people was like last year, oh, Brayshaw's having a really good season. Why aren't they tagging Brayshaw? I'm going to tell you why. If you go back and look at the stats, when teams tagged Sarong, Freo lost. When teams tagged Brayshaw, nothing happened. Freo still won. So I'm no coach, but if I was looking at those stats, I'm going to be tagging Sarong. It's exactly worked out like that. I remember looking at it last year, and I was a Brayshaw owner last year, and I was very happy. I know, and I think he'll have another very good season this year, and I think a fit Hayden Young will actually help him. You'll have Sarong and Hayden Young getting him in the ball in the transition. So, and plus, he's no slouch when it comes to contested possessions as well, but he's also a very good two-way runner. So he's not only good at in and under getting the contested possession, but he's great at running back and helping out, and running forward and helping out. So I'm reasonably keen on Brayshaw, to be honest. But you are right, Masturbator. Players' prices go down. And almost even the Bont at 700, it's going to go down. Just how much is it going to go down? So Sinclair, Whitfield and Rosie, Farrow. So basically the same setup as me. Taylor, Sarong, Lindsay Jacks. Yep, I like it. Very similar to mine. And I think it's a very dependable. There's none of the risky boys. You've got no McKirches or Nick Newmans or any like that at the moment. So Cheese, I think it's a very safe backline with 3 primos that are going to be there at the end of the season in the top 6. Butters, Dacos. I had Dacos and I'm fading him a little bit. 1, because of the early buy, and 2, I think he's going to be the number 1 tag target. I've just got a feeling that if he can be tagged, and we saw he could, but it's not easy. If he can be tagged and come down a little bit, maybe I can get him cheaper after the buys. Anderson, I think, will be, especially with the new rules, one of the best midfielders, running the Finn Callahans, the Brayshaw, the Andersons, the ones that cover, a lot of ground. Going to be really good. Richards, I believe you remember you said this Richards spots was a bit up for grabs, Cheese, in what you wrote to me. So I like them all. They're all these early buy guys. I'm not too sure. You've got, how many you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big dogs so far. Young and Parrish, yep. Shark, Carroll, Cook. What do you think about this Cook guy? Any chance he plays? Brody, Rashenko, Sherry and Jackson. Like I said, I'd love to pick Jackson, but Darcy is just he's like a big lumbering plug, plugging up my opportunities to pick Jackson. Where's Farrow at? In the back line there. In the back line there. Which is beautiful. Beautiful. Don't like Richard's price. I think he is... Yeah, I don't like any of the prices over 600k. Let's be honest. Does anyone like the prices when they're over 600k? But I think he'll be very good. There are a lot of mouths to feed in that midfield. You got Bont, you got Richards, you got Libba, you got a lot of these young guys, the Fridge, and running through there. You got Trelaw, if he comes back, wants to run through there as well. So I feel that it means that sometimes somebody out of the Bulldog mids has to have a low game. Who's it going to be? It's like a roll the dice. They roll the dice and it's like, well, Richards, you got a few less possessions this week. Or Libby, you got a few less possessions this week. So even Bont, with all these midfielders, maybe they say, hey, Bont, you go up forward for a bit. And he doesn't score goals and stuff. I mean, if he scores goals, beautiful. But if he doesn't, if that happens in the first few weeks, Trelaw comes back, goes in the mid, they play Bont forward a little bit more. That could be brutal for someone like me if I pick him at the beginning and then he drops a few 110 scores and goes down to like 590 and everyone gets him. That would make me cry, but it could happen. Sherry and Jackson, yep, I think it's very dependable. Even after my ruck video, I still think Sherry has got an absolute awesome start to the season, including playing my team, the Eagles, where I assume him to crush Flynn and Tyler and whoever else comes up against him. So even though he gets 80% of his scoring from stoppages, I still think he will destroy the Rucks in his first lot of fixtures enough to not make a difference. Sheasel, Freesia, the Fridge, I don't know about this pick. I'd have to see him play a lot more mid or off the back line. I think it's too expensive for me. If he was 320 or 300, I'd have a go. But I can understand why you go there. If he has a breakout season, excellent. He's probably going to be a lot more dependable than Treelaw as body-wise, so understandable. Flanders, Philippou, Marshall, Robertson, Smith, Roses. You know something about this guy? Lombard and Edwards. Yep. So I like your team, Cheese. It looks really good. I'm also hearing good things about this Carroll guy, in someone to make sure it's on your watch list for the... One thing, AI might not always tell the truth when it comes to predictions, but what it does tell the truth for you, if you go to AI and say, search the internet for any preseason news on Will Brodie, and, you know, including match teams and stuff, it will bring you up everything that's come up. All this, you don't have to go and any website or whatever, or a news channel to watch it. It'll bring you up anything it's said about him, like, you know, yeah, Will Brodie killing it or whatever. So I did that with a lot of the rookies to pick them in my team, and I'll be doing that more as the season gets closer. I'll be looking at them with a keen eye myself, and I'll be, you know, bringing up everything AI has to say of what I've heard about them, the rookies, and what's been said about him. You know, if the coach says he's a lock or something and I missed it, you know, hopefully AI will catch it. Hey Corey, how are you, mate? Nice to see you. We got your team as well, do we? Do we got your team this time? If he's named round 1, you'll pick him. Oh, Farrow, yeah, lots of good talk about Farrow. So there, you know, people are mentioning Dyson Sharp, but everyone's talking about Farrow. Hey, Michael, how you going, mate? Yeah, Michael, I'm with you. I understand, and I have the money. I have the money to get them. I do think that if I see that, not 100% sure about Dersma, but Annabelle and Euland, if the roles are there for them in the preseason, you're forced to pick them. And the fact that they've got job security, I'll live with a bit of a slower burn to make their money if they can, you know, provide that job security. Plus, especially someone like Euland that has the DPP status, that's highly valuable. So I can definitely see him in my team. I just want to see him play in the practice matches in round 0, and if he takes 1 kick in, he's probably in my team. But yeah, I think that's where you got to talk about, you know, the reliability of the rookies, and I think some of these more expensive ones might be a little bit more reliable. Dersma, maybe. Dersma might make us pick him. The problem is we don't get to see him in round 0. But what do we do if the 2 practice matches he comes out and gets 90s? You're probably going to have to pick him. She says, with this team, I'm trying to avoid the speculative picks. So, yeah, so no Treelaws. It's the only risk. Can become Track. I really like Track. I think Track's going to have a big season at Gold Coast, is my personal opinion. Just who you want to lock in as the top guys, which is a bit like me. You are the same. You're avoiding these high-priced rookies. How much money you got in the bank? Did you? I think you might have told me. So, yeah, money in the bank. Plus, you know, you can go Fraser, the fridge. You could go down to whoever, like a Buderick, like I was thinking of, and there you've freed up money to get some of these high-priced rookies. I think you have to have enough money in the bank at this time of season. It's fine to pick all these cheap rookies, but you need to have enough money in the bank to get to the more expensive ones. If, 1, they look like they're going to be more reliable, and 2, if everybody else has got them. If 50% of the league has Euland, I might just have to get him just in case. Just like Finn O'Sullivan last year, right? Askar, that is an analyst from Champion Data, and prompt them to task, whatever you're interested in. Yeah, Pure, I'm no, whatever you want to call it, tech head or whatever, but I do like to use AI for stuff. It's a lot better than a Google search, and especially when you're searching for things about the rookies. Like, as soon as I heard that Jordan Clark injury, the first thing I did was went into AI and said, tell me about injuries and tell me about his injury. Especially if you say you don't want to pay like me for the Herald Sun. You know, Herald Sun has lots of articles, Supercoach articles, but you have to pay for the Herald Sun. I don't want to pay for the Herald Sun. So I just searched AI, and the AI will steal whatever it said that I'm interested out of the article and tell me, and I don't have to pay for it. So that's another good way if you want to become a cheapskate like Shauno. Masturbator, you're fading Parish big time. You have Langford instead. Yeah, I'm very interested. Melbourne are a hard watch for the pre-season. Their midfield is decimated. You know, who's going to step up? There's going to be Steele, and who else? Langford maybe. There's been talk of Caleb Windsor as well, who's nice and cheap in defence. Maybe he's a go. I'm going to see how they line up, and in those first few matches, it should be very interesting. Melbourne, definitely put Melbourne boys on your watch list. Your team's different. You like me, Cheese? Yeah, my team will probably be different by 5 minutes time after we finish. He's training in WA today, Corey, but he's not going to play the... that's good. So that, for me, in my team, if I had a look at Jordan Clark, and I feel like as long as I don't see Judd McVie interfering with him too much in the preseason matches, I might pick him because I had a look at his scores, and he was very steady, but he does have a ceiling. He can score 140s. So I might pick him just because he doesn't have the early bye. If he's all good, he plays all the preseason games, and he rounds up at line and in one, I might pick him instead of Sinclair just because he doesn't have the early bye. Do I think he'll score more than Sinclair by the end of the season? Probably not, but I'm pretty keen on Sinclair, let's be honest. But the money I would save, the extra 50k I save, could be well spent maybe in getting one of those more expensive rookies. Steel Rivers Pickett, how much time do you think Pickett is going to play in the midfield? How much up forward? They're going to need him up forward sometime, but I think that sounds reasonable. On for top 8 mid, not speculative. I think Finn Callaghan. I looked at Finn Callaghan's stats and just the end of his year, but that's no biggie. Everybody's saying it. I'm not telling you anything you haven't heard anyone else anywhere else. I think there'll be a few players who'll get close that might surprise people. If Wardlaw can be uninjured and Wardlaw and Sheasel play, I think LDU is a chance to be top 12 if those other two stay. He needs the two backups. He needs his two mates in the team. As for other top 8s, I'm not too sure. Back my gut with Sinclair. The only thing is the money, mate. The money and the buy. I still will get him. I just might not. I might. When it comes to... So this is my order, right? Whitfield is number 1. I am not trading out Whitfield unless he gets injured or something happens. Whitfield is my number 1 defender, and he will be staying as my number 1 defender. That is a he's the cheapest out of the 3 big guys, and I think he's got potential to be the number 1. He would have been number 1 if it wasn't for that 16 that he scored because of his a concussion. So, he is my number 1. And then it will be one of Sinclair or McKercher and Rosie. Or just basically depending on the buys. Here we've got Lindbergh's team, Lockie's Mistresses. like the name Lindbergh. I'm not sure if you hear Lindbergh. Put your hand up if you are. Wangali Malera, who I still think is going to be good. He bound to be in the top 3 as well. When you're talking Sinclair, if I'm picking the top 3 right now, it's the same as last year. It's Sinclair, Malera, and Whitfield are the top 3 defenders. McKercher, I could still get McKercher in my team. I hate the round 12 bye. I love the fact he doesn't have an early bye. If I bought him, I have to think that I'd have to pretty much ditch him by the time the buys came around, which If he's scoring really well, it's not going to be a thing that I'd want to do. But maybe like a Kurt McKercher up to a Sinclair could be a thing. Houston and Grill. Houston is a nice, that's a cheeky pick. I'm not too sure if it'll pay off, but it's a nice little pod there. Farrow, Taylor, Lindsay, and Sarong. Anyone else got Houston in their teams? They pay for the top price ones, Michael. The only, the good thing, remember back to last year, right? The only ones, can you think of any others besides Nod? Nathan O'Dishgrill. You know how to say his name. You know what we do when Sean can't get his English right?
Me fail English? Me fail English? That's impossible.
Me fail English, that's impossible. Yep, that's what we do when Sean can't say a player's name, which probably happens a lot. So, yeah. Was it Nathan O'Driscoll? That's it. There we go. We got it that time. Who else were the high price rookies that paid off last year? Because most of them didn't. I know Finn O'Sullivan didn't. But the one good thing is you can drop down to a lower price rookie pretty easily. You can't go up. Well, not without having a lot of extra money in the bank. It's a lot easier to go down than it is to go up. So that's why starting a few of these bit more expensive guys, I don't mind it. I don't want too many, but I don't mind it. Witters is your favourite backline player. I wonder, Cheese, I wonder if he comes out and plays round 0 and smacks a 150 or something, a lot of people are going to pick him. But at the moment, he's only 10% owned. He's basically a pod in the backline, which is amazing for what potentially the number one, and his midfield buy is the best midfield buy. Only 2 teams with Richmond. As far as I'm concerned, he in the backline is my number one pick, and I will not be changing that except for if I hear injury news. Levi Ashcroft and Lindsay from the D's did. Levi Ashcroft was about 180, so yeah, he was more. And Lindsay, yes, was also both about 180, 190, weren't they, starter? So they both did pretty good. Good on you, Corey. They were both 2 very good examples. I did not start Levi Ashcroft, and I had to scramble to get him in. And I even think I couldn't get him at 180. I had to wait till he went up to like 220 or 230 before I could get him. So that cost me last year. So you are right. Hey, Jay Wilson, how are you? Have I reviewed your team? No, we have not. No, you are. I think you can. You are. I think you put your team in last, so it's coming. Still coming. Hope you did well at cricket, mate. Cricket season's almost over. Footy season's almost here. It's a beautiful time of the year. Sherry de Koning. I think de Koning is a very interesting pick. Very mobile ruck. Should you like the new rules? Depends on how much ruck Marshall gets. If they just plunk Marshall up forward, and he basically just takes a ruck contest when it's out in the forward 50, Marshall takes it and de Koning takes it everywhere else around the ground. De Koning could be a good pick at 524. I don't mind it. I just would like to see what the CBA percentage is. If they're doing 50% CBAs, definitely not. If the Koning's doing 80% and Marshall's doing 20%, could be a thing. Could be a thing. Sheasel, Flanders. I like Sam Laylor. I like this pick. I like it. I think it's more safe than Treloar. I think this kid looks really good. I think he could score really good, and I like this pick. He could end up in my team. If for some reason I have to drop Petrarca for money or for buy reasons, he could definitely end up in my team. Phillipou, Marshall, Robertson, Smith, Draper. Hopefully Draper gets over whatever injuries, or he was, I think last time I heard he was still struggling to make round 1, but if he makes round 1 and looks okay, maybe plays a pre-season match or something, definitely be locking him in my team with the DPP action. I got my eyes open for a mid-forward DPP, and I would like to see one appear in my team. The Duff Tyler and White, I don't mind this Duff Tyler. And I'll tell you why, crew. You're like, oh my God, he's 190. And it's not because he's the higher price rookie. He's going to be a slow burn at this price. He just is. But do you remember last year, there were people who picked the other Eagles. I think it's, as an Eagles supporter, I'm a bit ashamed that I'm struggling to think of his name. But there was another Eagles guy priced around this price who actually played, and we all had, including me, the bloody guy from St Kilda who looked like he was going to play and played one match and never played again. So everybody else, or those few smart Supercoach players who had the Eagles guy, they made a couple of $100,000. It took them a while, but they made they made 150, 200 grand that the rest of us didn't make. Plus they had an on-field option if, somebody got injured or something. So Archer Reed, thank you, Corey. You think I'd know the players in my own team, wouldn't you? So it was a big advantage for them. Not only did they make money, but they had a player who could play if there was an issue. So if Reedy is not playing, Duff Tyler might be here. And you might even find Duff Tyler in my forward line or on my bench. I don't think he's going to score a lot, but he might score more than the average key forward with how mobile he is. If he can get the minutes on the ground, he might be able to scoop up those balls when it hits the ground. I don't know, but I'm thinking a scoring player here is better than a non-scoring. If White's not playing, I don't think I'll have him in my team. I'm looking at it this way. I can go down from Duff Tyler to White and make 100k if I need to, and get a loophole if I need to. But I won't be able to go up to him. I won't have 100k sitting around to go. If Duff Tyler comes down and gets an 80, if he gets a 60 and a 50 and then he gets 80 or a 90, he'll go up. He won't go up a lot, but he'll go up enough to make it worthwhile and to have, especially if you've got Reedy as well. If Reedy and Duff Tyler both play, I think lock them both in and you've got the perfect world where you can just move your rucks around, get a rookie on the field. You've paid a bit extra for him. I think it could be a really good move and I like it. Yeah, that's the problem. He'll definitely be the third forward behind. There'll be Waterman and then there'll be Shannananan, which I love that guy, who looked awesome last year as Eagles supporter. I love that guy. He's going to be number 2 and I think Duff Tyler will be number 3. Duff Tyler will be more mobile around the ground than both of them by the sounds of things. He might even take a few ruck contests while Flynn is trying to get down to the forward line if he doesn't get down there quick enough. But will it be time on ground? That is the problem. If he's not playing, a lot of time on ground, then he's probably going to be a bad pick. Okay, next team. Like your team, mate. Like I said, think Houston is interesting. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do it, but I hope it works out for you. Cheese, we did yours, right? We did yours. G-Bags, have we done yours? I think we did Cheese first and then we did that one. Did we do G-Bags? Let me know if we've already done this one. Not too sure if you're here, mate. Own up if you am. Going to submit your updated team, Shawnyman. Thanks, mate. We'll definitely go through it. Definitely. If you're on live now and you still want to put in your team, it's not too late. Put your team in. We've got time. Wangani, Malira, Rosie, McKercher, Coleman, Ewan, Taylor. See, this is the more paying up for the rookies. He's paid up for Ewan and Coleman, but that means he can't afford another gun here, which might be the safer version of the rookie side of it, but a little bit more risky when it comes to the mid prices. Still, I would love McKercher to be really good, but he still scares me. Would love to see that roll. Butters, Anderson, Callahan, Young. I think this is a very strong midfield. I would love this mid. I think this is almost, if you somehow you get Bond here, I think this is almost the strongest midfield you could have, except for the early buys. If I could get rid of Parrish, have Bond here, and see these 4 names with if there was no early buys, I'd be loving the world. He's got Dersma, he's paying up, Parrish, Sharp, Grill, Brody. So he's paying up for the expensive rookies. He's got Draper here, who I wouldn't do this. Was injured last time we heard. Yeah, I think this is I understand that there's a lot of ups and downs about the at the moment. Before, I thought he was going to be good. I had him in my forward line for a while, but I'm a little bit worried. I'd be looking at a substitute for that or making plans. Obviously, this is how you can afford these more expensive rookies, and that's just it. You've got to sell your soul to get them. You've got to sell a big dog to get them. And if you do like I do, where you count the amount of keepers in your team, I like between 11 and 13 keepers in my team. 13 is awesome, 11 is minimum. So let's try it with this guy's team. 1, 2, I don't really, not counting McKercher, 3, 4, 5, I'll count Hayden Young because it's possible, I reckon, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's only got 10 keepers in his team. I don't think that's enough to start the season, honestly. Oh, and he's got Treloar on the flex. And same Laylor, I like it. So, yeah, very mid-price and high-price rookie team. I think you might struggle to make money on this team a little bit. You might have some money making issues, and you could have some disasters like Parrish and Treloar. If they pay off for you, beautiful. But don't forget, Supercoach is all about making money. Sometimes the cheaper rookie who might score like that 5 or 10 points less, but as long as he's reliable and stays on the field, he'll make you an extra 50 or 100k and a lot quicker. So, but I don't mind it. I think this is a very safe team. I think this team looks like they'll pretty much all play. Except the Duff Tyler Reedy, yeah, maybe. But he can always put Treloar here and have Robertson on. So he's got that combination, which I like. So, yeah, I like it. I think if you wanted to have a very safe team, something like this is something you can definitely go for. Just looks right. Just especially, this is another one I AI'd. I asked who got the most, gained the most meters, and they thought that the new rules would help the most out of all the midfielders, and these two were top 5. Callahan and Anderson were right up there of getting the most meters gained, and who they think the new fast pace of the game is really going to help. They think it's going to hurt people like Rao a little bit, the in and unders, just because there's going to be a few less stoppages, so maybe not as many contested balls. But if you are a hard runner, if you're bolting down the field, they reckon that that could really help you. And that's why I kind of like Brayshaw on my team, because he's known as a bit of a running from one end to the other. So, yeah, I think these are the midfielders I'm leaning towards. In years past, I was more of the in and under man, get those contested possessions. This year, I'm leaning towards the men who get the high meters, who really are the connect guys who get up and down the field. Very nice team, G-Bags. So we're done Lindbergh, we're done Cheese. Jay, all right, Jay, you're up, mate. You're still here in chat? Thanks again for everybody here. If you haven't already liked the video, we got 14 people apparently watching now. And if you're watching in the future, you could please like the video. That would be awesome. Hopefully you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I love talking Supercoach, and these videos are so much more fun than the other ones, than the ones where you have to be all serious and put out a video. These ones where I get to chat to you guys, I like them much more. Okay, Jay, let's have a look. Or is it Jai? Jai or Jay? Jai Wilson. I think it's Jai, right? I should say Jai. Underrated rookie, he certainly is, Shawnee man. And I think the only issue is Collingwood, does he get a game? If he gets a game, could be there, could be there. Is he taking someone else's spot? Was it Bobby Hill or someone? Is he taking someone's spot, or is there a spot open, or is he just taking someone whose injury, who's out for a couple of weeks? Or has he actually got a spot open? Like they talk about that Tobin Murray dude from Freo, they're saying there is a spot open for him. So he could be one to watch. He'll play? All right, he'll play. How much is he? You remind me, I'm going to come back and have a look at that, because I didn't have him in my rookie calculations. Had him best 23. Shawnee, I like it. All right, we're going to check him out. Is he expensive? How much is he? So in this team, Jai's team, we've got Wangan, Miller, Rosie, McKercher, Coleman, Ewan, Taylor. I like it. I think my back line could end up, except for, the combination, the McKercher, if you need money and he doesn't play an early buy, as long as you don't have too many of those round 12 guys, which it doesn't look like you do, so, which is good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5. You got the max, what I think is the max. Butters, Dacos. Like I said, I like Dacos in my team, but I think I'm going to fade him. Sarong. Just have a look, Jai. Another AI. I know I keep crapping on about AI, but that's who I go to. If I haven't got you guys around to chat to, that's who I go to. No one else talks to Shauno, so he has to talk to AI and pretend humans, and sometimes pure and AI. Sarong, his first 5 or 6 matches, I said, what are the likelihood of him being tagged? And it came out in the first 6 matches, 4 of them, it said there's a high possibility of him being tagged. And like I said earlier, when Sarong gets tagged, Freo don't win. So I'm sorry, all my Freo friends over here. Hopefully the coaches of opposing teams aren't listening, because that's what the stats showed last season. Sarong got tagged, Freo didn't win. They tagged Brayshaw, it did nothing. So I'm going to see how much do the coaches believe in those stats? How much do they do the research in those stats? But I know if I was an opposing coach, I know how hard I'd be tagging. I don't give a shit how good Brayshaw's playing. I'd be tagging Sarong. Anyway, Dacos is going to be a monster. It's just a matter of whether he gets tagged as well. Oh, sorry. Haven't really considered Harrison. Yeah, 126. That's a reasonable price. Reasonable price. I like the price. The price is right. Carmichael is injured as far as we know, so you might want to make other plans for here, Jai. Otherwise, I hope he plays, because I had him, but I believe, I'm not too sure how long he's out for, but it was enough for me to take him out of my team. He's got that DPP status, which is beautiful, so makes me cry a little bit. But yeah, hopefully he's okay by round 1 and he gets a shot. Surely he is competing against people like Buderick for probably the same position in that back line. So could be a little bit of competition for spots back there. Sherry in English, I think this is very dependable. This is exactly what I've got mine set at the moment. As we looked at those ruck stats, English is the least dependent out of all the rucks on stoppages. He scores his points around the ground. Out of all the big boys, out of the top six rucks, I think it was, that he gets less points from stoppages than any others. And Sherry gets the most, like 81% of his points come from stoppages. So Sherry's points will go down, but it's just the question is by how much. Is there still, the question is, even if your points go down, considering had that low, slightly injured part of the year last year, his lower scoring could still be higher than all the other guys scoring, which is what I'm worried about. But it will go down. It'll just a matter of how much it'll go down. It might only be by 10 points. And if he's scoring 150s, you're not going to care about 10 points. Oops, sorry, I keep doing that. And White on the bench, again, my thinking is I prefer a playing player. If White plays, boom, he's in. Get him in there. Put White in the midfield. You need it, Melbourne. But if White plays, he's in there. If not, I'll be looking for either a Reedy or a Duff Tyler, I think, here. Sheasel, Pickett. I think Pickett's a fair pick, especially now that their whole midfield has died. Pretty much Melbourne's midfield is dead. Maybe he's going to get, when he gets enough CBAs, he'll be really good. Do I think he's going to go up in no money or whatever? No. I think he'll stick about 5 to 550. I don't think he's going to be a 600k player or anything. Do I think he could be one of the top 6 forwards? Yes. I think it's very likely he could be. So I think this is a reasonable pick at the price. I think, yeah, the only problem is if he plays more forward. And they might need goal kickers, so that might happen, but it's just going to be what's his percentage of CBAs to forward time. In the pre-season games, if you see him playing like probably 70%, 60-70% CBAs, you could probably lock him in this position. Flanders, excellent. Philippou, Marshall, Robertson. McRae, I hope he plays because it's nice DPP action, but, it's really good. Jai, you still there? I like your team, Jai. Hey, Blue Bagger, how are you? What do I think about Brent Daniels?
It's a trap!
So I'll be waiting to play that, Blues. Sorry, Blues. I'll be waiting to play that. Honestly, I won't be considering him for my team. I just don't see how he gets into that midfield. How, especially with, like, you know, Oliver rolling up there. He plays GWS, right? Yeah, with Oliver rolling up there as well, he doesn't get the CBA action. If there was any sign that he could get over 50% CBAs, do it. And he had that big score, was it last year or the year before? Because he kicked 5 goals. But besides that, he hasn't had too many good scores. Even when he has got CBAs, his scores haven't been great. So I'm not a fan unless I see some world where he's getting a lot of CBAs. I think they're better picks. Yeah, you got 120 and 195 to average 85. That's my issue. That's my issue. What's the chance he goes up? That was the 5 goals, right? So you got might be more, maybe less, but he scored a ton of goals to get that 195. I can't see him doing that too often. If he did that every 3rd week, you might do it. But if he does it twice a season, that's not enough for me. So if he was cheaper, because I think he's about 300k, would that be right? If he was 250k, maybe 240k, 260k, fine. Easy yo-yo. What about Jack Steele, Blues baggers? I like him. There's no other. Who else in Melbourne got to be the midfield? He's going to be the number 1 man. The question for me is Jack Steele a keeper? Which is why I don't have him in my team. I think at his price, he's great value. At his price, he's going to get you some decent scores. He might even get you some ceiling scores. But will you want to trade him out by the end of the season to upgrade to someone else in the top 8 mids? And my conclusion I came to from my team was yes. I'd prefer to have people who are, you know, over 500k. If you're in my midfield and you're over 500k, I expect, well, hope, let's say hope, because it never happens. I hope you're going to be in my season all year and I don't have to trade you out. I'm buying you as a keeper, and I can't see Jack Steele being a keeper. Yeah, he gets 15 tackles a game, heaps of contested touches. He could score big. Don't you get me wrong. And the fact that he doesn't have an early buy, he's very tempting. And if I need to make money somewhere, maybe I'll pick him. If he comes out in the practice matches, because they don't play round 0, and smashes 120 pluses, if he gets 110 plus, I'll probably pick him. And then I'll just grin and bear that extra trade. We've got more trades than ever the last couple of years. Maybe a sideways or a jump from him. Maybe it's a valid him to Bont or something. If you want to fade Bont, you put him in. He comes out those first few weeks why the midfield in Melbourne is decimated, makes 60, 70, 80 grand, gets up to like 580, and then you just jump onto Bont for an extra 100. Maybe Bont comes down by about 50k, you chuck 100k on top of Steele and you've got yourself a Bont. I mean, those things are something to definitely think about. I do like him. I want to see, like I said, I think Melbourne is one of the most watched teams. Melbourne and Richmond are probably probably the Eagles are the 3 most teams that I'm keen to watch the most in the preseason for rookies, mid-prices, and see what happens with their positions. Like Melbourne to see what happens in the midfield, and Eagles and Richmond to see what happens with their rookies. Whitfield Ash Blues bagger. I talked about this before. I wouldn't pick Ash. Not because I don't think he can't do well, it's just that he's had 1 breakout season and he has to back it up again. You've got other players there who have done it back to back. Your Whitfields and your Clarks and your Sinclairs of the world have all done this many seasons in a row. He's had 1 breakout season. I'd like to see him do it again before, I'd pick him. He could regress. He might do better. He might do much better. But if I was picking out of him and Whitfield, I'm picking Whitfield every day of the week. If I'm picking out of him or Sinclair, I'm picking Sinclair every day of the week. If I'm picking him out of Nass, I'm picking Nass every day of the week. Not because I 100% think they'll score massively more, but I think it's a lot more of a safe bet. It's if you're picking him as a pod, as far as I'm concerned. Whitfield consistency plus the ceiling. And Freddie, I can't say this enough, crew. If there's one thing I tell you this season, if there's one thing you want to come back and bag me out about later on if I get wrong, Whitfield, take out his sub-affected score last year. He got knocked out in the first quarter and had 16 points. Without that game, you take that game out, he was the #1 scorer in the defensive line. He scored 170 for God's sake in one game. Like, this man just gobbles up that ball in the back line and they want it in his hands. They just want him as the kick-in and deliverer. And Ash was the same on the other side. So that's why Ash scored so well. But, you know, Whitfield's not slowing down. And it doesn't matter about his age. You've seen what Zorko and those guys can do. So it doesn't really matter. Causa, you're up next, buddy. Dale, I think, is... I don't think he's injured. He's just overlooked. I think I had Dale last year and he was a bit up and down. But I do like the pick. Early buy, unfortunate. But so is half the rest of the back line. So, you know, what difference does that make? Yeah, I don't mind Dale. He's going to be a point of difference. And, you know, he's going to be right around that top 6 to 8 defenders at the end of the season. I think it's a very reasonable pick. You have Whitfield and Nash, Whitfield and Nash, Whitfield and... I think any combination of those three, Rosie, Whitfield, Nash, all those four, Sinclair, Rosie, Whitfield, Nash, Sinclair, almost guaranteed top 6 forwards. Get as many of those guys in your back line as you can and still afford the rest of your team, because those guys, they're going to be right there at the end of the season and they will outscore these. Like, there's no way on earth, like what we said, the champion from last year said, the player you pick with an early buy, so let's say a Whitfield, has to do more than 5 points better for every game for the entire season than the player you pick without the early buy. So let's say you pick Bergman. Bergman could be a good pick. Say on a good, best case scenario, Bergman goes 100. Goes 100, gets DPP, you can move in mid-year. I can't guarantee, but I'm telling you right now, I'll predict that Whitfield will go at easily 5, Nass will go at easily 5, and Sinclair will easily go 5 more points than that every single game. Over the average of the season, 5 points a game, not a problem. So, Smith, I think this is a really good pick. He destroyed it last year. Looked at the stats. He's a very, like the Finn Callahan, he's a very high meters game player. Has that early buy. But this, I love this too. If only you could get Anderson here as well, that would be the perfect midfield. Like, this midfield, except for the old buy situation, I love it as well. These are, you know, the same sort of conversation can be said here. If you say you're picking a Steele and against a Brodie Smith, just because your reasoning is he's going to score less, doesn't have an early buy. Do you think Bailey Smith will outscore Steele by an average of 5 points a game? Well, not 100%, but I definitely do. I definitely do think that. And so that's what makes him a worthwhile pick. Plus, he's a keeper. You're not trading out Bailey Smith, you know. And I looked at Holmes and Smith, and Smith looks like the better pick, to be honest, out of the two of them. So, I don't know. I love this midfield too. Lockie Ash here. There is a Lockie Ash. Whose team is this? You? Oh, Causa. The ladies' man, I believe. Causa, are you here? You are here, aren't you? Corey, this is you, right? Lockie Ash, as again, 580. I'd prefer to pay the extra, 17 grand and get Whitfield, but each to their own. Rosie Blakey is interesting. Pod, I've done some research. He looks good. Is he as good as Whitfield, Nass, and Sinclair? I don't know, but he's 50k cheaper. So, yep. Baz missed 2 games because he was probably had a hard night before. Coleman, Ewan, Taylor, very solid. Like the defense, a bit of a pod defense. If it goes well for you, great. If it goes bad, though, yeah, it's one thing I worry about not going Nass. If Nass goes bananas, it could be trouble. But I'm not too worried because I think even if Nass goes bananas, I think Whitfield and Sinclair can keep up with him. I think they can keep up with him. I'm not too sure if a Blakey or a Lockie Ash can keep up with a bananas Nass or a bananas Whitfield or a bananas Sinclair. But who knows? They're young upcomers. These might be the men. They're probably the men of the future. Maybe this is their year to, you know, put the older statesmen in their place. Dale, 2.7% ownership. Yeah, definitely a pod. Definitely a pod. The back line, I think, is one of the hardest ones just because there's so many good players that you want. A lot of them are on the same buys, and there's all those mid prices that you want. Last year we had the mid prices in the forward line. This year they're in the back line, but you also want those big dogs in the back line. So I'm finding it hard. The forward line's pretty easy for me this year. Just slap as many players you think are cheap on the field that are going to play. The back line is the real problem where do I go cheap with the McKerches and the Bergmans and spend that money somewhere else? Or do I just load up on big guys who I'm not going to have to trade later on, who I think can really score high? You got 50k in the bank, so you can still afford one of the above. Still get Sinclair, Whitfield. Plus you've already got high price rookie here, which is nice. Bont, but I love this. I love your midfield, mate. How many early buy players do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got 8. Yeah. Again, there might be a few more people here at the moment. Has anyone got a number in their head? I'm not going to do more than this many early buy players. 6 to 8 I think is fine. Like I said, I was talking to someone earlier on and said he had 2. I think that might be a little bit excessive. I think you might probably giving up. If you're giving up the Bont to the Bailey Smiths and the Finn Callahans of the world to get only 2 of them. But if I can find a substitute for Bailey Smith or a Finn Callahan who's not playing the buys, say like a Brayshaw, who I still think will be in the top 8, because I really think these top 4 guys, I think they'll be right there. If they're not in the top 8 by the end of the season, it's going to be very close. Like, if I could pick this midfield, if there was no early buys, I'd be picking this midfield. You know, possibly Anderson instead of there. Yeah, that's why I've got Sinclair pure. One, because Nass, who's going to get the attention in the St Kilda midfield? They're going to try and tag Nass, surely. Whether they're going to be successful or not is another story. And plus, if he gets tagged and he doesn't score any goals, so when he goes to midfield and he scores goals, he goes huge. Now, he could score 200. If he gets 30 possessions and 3 goals, he could score 200. But if he gets 25 possessions, he gets some attention. If he gets 25 possessions and no goals, he could score 100, or 105, or 110, and then he'll come down in price, and then I'll snaffle him up. But who's to say that's going to happen? He might just come out and score 150 every week. He is an absolute superstar. But the fact that Sinclair and Whitfield are cheaper, and the fact that, like I keep saying, Whitfield would have outscored him last year. They might put a tag on Whitfield. I guess they can in the back line. I think they did try that once last year. Had one of his lower, I think he had an 80 when someone put a tag on him. So maybe they do tag a Whitfield. Or if you're playing St Kilda, who you're tagging, Sinclair or Nass? You're probably tagging Nass. If you're playing GWS, you're going to tag Callahan or Whitfield. Maybe you do put a back tag on Whitfield. I'm not too sure. Over Clark. I don't mind Clark. I think Clark has a chance of being in the top 6. When I look at his score, he doesn't get his ceiling very often, but he has got a ceiling, so he can get there. So I don't mind the Clark pick. Just with this injury yesterday or the day before, I'd like we said, I want to see him play some matches. Sherry in English looks pretty same as me as well. Looks pretty safe at the moment. Sheasel, Flanders, Buderick. Again, I like Buderick. I potentially could do this as well to try and make money if I wanted to get rid of Petrarca, that I don't. Philippou, Marshall, Robertson, Annabelle. You've got, by getting someone like Buderick instead of like Chris Petrarca like I do, it makes you afford these Annabelles and Eulens of the world, and which I think I'm going to possibly need. So I like your team. This is what I call a realistic team for round 1, where this could actually be your team. Corey, Causa, I think this could be a very solid round 1 team. And the buys, I still don't know about the buys. I still don't know how many is too many. I still don't know at the end of the season if it really matters if one player is having 2 buys or 1 buy. I think that doesn't really matter whether, like, Bontempelli will have 2 buys instead of 1 buy. So at the end of the season, his score will be slightly lower than somebody else, like for his overall score. It's the weekly score that matters, right? So, you know, your team overall won't suffer, I don't think, that much. Game does your head in, but you love it. Yeah, it's the way it is, right? So, and this, interesting, this kid down here from Frio, I wonder if he'll get a game. Really like the team, Causa, really like the team. Lindbergh, we had a look at yours already, but I know you said this is a variation. You said you did it for fun, you might like it. So we'll have a quick look and then we'll move on. Wanganeen, Malera, McKercher, Coleman, Grill, Farrow, Taylor, love it. Bont, Butters, Dacos, Anderson. Like, I was really keen on Dacos, and then the whole tag thing took me out of it. Finn Callahan, oh God, look at that midfield. Look at how deep that midfield is. Oh my God. Langford, Sharp, few cheap rookies on there on the side there. That's a deep midfield. Sherry and DeConey. I don't mind the DeConey pick. I think this could work out for people who do it. Sheasel, Flanders, Laylor, Philippou, Marshall, Robertson. I think it's interesting. Let's have a look at this midfield again. Oh my God. The problem that I have with this midfield is that in years past, you make your money from the rookies in the midfield, and your midfield rookies are the ones that, well, you're more likely, it's easier to get them on the field because you got more of them. So going too deep in the big dogs in the midfield leaves you, while other people have like a Whitfield here and a Sinclair here or something, they're getting big scores there. Why these midfield rookies that score slightly more, like these, say your 3 rookies back here get you 60s, and someone else has 3 rookies here that get them 80s because they're midfield rookies and they're playing midfield, or the vice versa in the forward line. And yet they've got a couple of big dogs in the back line. It kind of hurts you. It's better to be a little bit more even, I've found in the past. Doesn't mean it's going to be that way this year, but in the past, to try and have a reasonable amount of premiums in both your, especially in your back line, if they're available in your forward line. This year it's a bit iffy, and we saw how much the premiums in the mid, like if you remember, like I do, all the premiums in the forward line went down to about 450k last year. They all did, and you could pick them up at 450. So paying, except for Sheasel, I think you just put him in there because everyone's got him and he's going to score well. But things like Petrarca, I've got Petrarca. He could drop down to 450 and everyone else picks him up for 450 in a few weeks' time. You know? So this would be a big, if there was no buys, your score could be huge. But at the same time, I think in the long run, your rookies, you're missing out on some of the rookies that would make more money. And money is what wins Supercoach. It's not beautiful, magnificent looking midfielders like this. Money is what wins Supercoach. So having more midfield rookies that are reliable, playing, and going to make you money is going to win you Supercoach, even though I love the look of it. But average the highest. Yeah, I'm not mucking around with Bont. I think I'm pretty set at 700k as a captain choice too. I think we underestimate the captain choice. Like last year I had Gorn. I got Gorn because I got punished the year before when I didn't have him. And I made him my captain multiple times and people didn't have Gorn. And I got a great start on the season. Like I was right up there in the top couple of thousand, you know, from the start. And it helped me even when I dropped off during the buys and later on. It helped me keep in that under, you know, top 10, 5% of scores just through using his captain score. And so being able to captain either a Bont or Sherry or a Butters and the choices. So in my team, and the same with this team, this team belongs to Freddie. You still here, Freddie? What else does everyone? I think it does everyone's head in, yeah. How much do you weigh up the top 8 versus value, Sean? Gulden, Sarong types. Okay, this is my thinking. If you can say get 2 value players, like if you picking Sarong and Gulden get you another premium keeper in another line or in that line, beautiful. But if it doesn't, if you feel that you're going to have to trade Sarong or Gulden out for a Callahan or a Dacos or a Bont, something else further down the track, I'd probably prefer just to get the Bont or the Dacos in the first place. So if you getting a couple of cheap guys gets you another keeper, plus you think those value guys are keepers, like every day, Sarong and Gulden, I think, could be keepers. They both have potential to make the top 8. So I think getting them 2 is fine, even though I've cooled on Sarong because I've already talked about the tag. The only thing I don't like about Gulden, he's got a massive ceiling, and I love the way he plays. But there's always a chance that he gets stuck out on that wing and he just doesn't get the ball as much as some of the other, you know, inside mids, the guys that start in the midline. So I know they love it out there, and I know with the newer game rules, it's probably going to suit him. He might even, you know, I think if I was going to take a swing at either one, it'd probably be Gulden, but then he's got the early buy. So then you go, well, maybe it should be Sarong. So the 2 of those, I've had them in and out of my team the whole time. But like I said, the way I like to think about it, if you're picking 2 value picks, are they going to be in the top of their line at the end of the season? And will they get you like an up from if Sarong and Gulden allow you to go Parrish up to Finn Callahan? Do it. Do it. You've got 3 absolute guns in your team then. Like, sounds great to me. But if they don't get you anybody, if they get you a Trelaw or like a risky mid-price or something, then maybe not. That's the way I kind of think about it. Bontler, yeah. Yep. Was it Blake last year? Which was the guy who was just on Swordplay, Corey? If you guys haven't watched that Swordplay with JP, the year that he won, he said he's starting Bont. He said he doesn't care how much it costs. And he also said, yeah, Dawson cheap and Heaney cheap. He got Rao 480. I got Rao very cheap last year as well. Dawson cheap and Heaney cheap. I think we saw last year, almost everybody goes down. Bont went down. I bought Bont way too expensive. I bought Bont at like 680 and he went down to 590 or something. Or, you know, I paid up for Bont and I thought, yeah, I'm going to have Bont. And then he had a couple of down games. So everybody goes down. It's just about, for me, it's more about the trades. How many keepers have you got in your team? If you are saying Sarong and Gulden are keepers, awesome. I think it's valid. Gulden, that wasn't his wing. I know. If Golden didn't have the early bias, I'd probably just have a go. Just because I know he can score 150. And the new rules will probably favour him. And yeah, I think Gordon is a very... I prefer Gordon over Sarong. I don't think you're tagging Gordon, you're tagging Heaney, right? In that team. If you're going to put the hard tag on someone, you're tagging Heaney. So I think Gordon's a very nice pick. And if I needed some money, you know, maybe that Fino Callahan, Brayshaw position could become Gordon for me. I think there's a chance he does make the top 8, but maybe not. Maybe just outside, maybe top 12, just because he has an occasional game when he might not get enough of the ball. Started 2 Freo guys, yep. Overall, it's timing as well as trading. Yeah, you don't, like a lot of people like to say, and I like to say, you don't win Supercoach with your starting team. You win Supercoach with your trading. So Bont, Butters, Dunkley, I guess that is behind the big blur. Sarong, Dunkley's interesting. I wonder he's not picked by many. Young, Parrish, Sharp, and Smith. I wonder how someone look at how highly owned is Dunkley. That's going to be a nice little pod that not many people take. Ruck taps. If the ball gets down there quick enough and Witts ain't around, at 214, I think he's kind of like a Duff Tyler type of pick. Probably a slow burn. Probably going to dish up some 40 to 60 games. Some stinkers maybe. But he's a massive man. I think with these guys, if they could just take a few of rucks, that would be awesome. A ruck tap outs. If they could take enough to get them to a 60. I know you really need a 72 we thought. Starting at 200, you needed a 72 to go up 150k by round 8. But I don't know. Wait for Jackson to get DPP. Yeah, and I think at that price, unless he was playing the number 1 ruck, he'll drop. You might get him, if he plays full-time midfield, you might get him for 550 midfield ruck, and I'll be buying him at that as well, just for the swing opportunity to get you out of trouble. If one of your ruck dies, you get rid of your ruck, you move Jackson back there, get another midfielder, and then wait to another point. Midfielder dies, you put Jackson back. You know, it'll option. We haven't had that flexible position. I think there's only once before, which is Mark Blickass used to be mid-ruck a few years back, and since then we haven't seen it. Unfortunately, it's not as good as the ruck forward because you'll have no one to link with, but it can get you out of trouble. So I don't mind this team. Again, cheaper in the forward line. Ugle Hagen, I don't know. Not a fan of the Ugle Hagen pick, but easy schedule could get him off to a good start. Yeah, they do have a very good beginning if he kicks a bag of goals here or there. I think he's one that you can not start. Out of the more expensive dudes, I prefer his mate out of Gold Coast, the Ewan, who's potentially back in and kicking and doing kick-outs. Will be a third option, key forward. Understart the Gold Coast could be good. Ethan Reid looking to play as a wing as well, so third option, key forward ruck for them. Yeah, he won't get forward ruck status, so I assume he's not going to play enough ruck to get that. But like I said, if him and the Duff Tylers of the world can take a few hit outs a game, you know, and get a hit out to advantage, it might be enough to make them a reasonable pick. Okay, very nice, very nice. Like your work, like the Dunkley. Did anyone tell me what's Dunkley's percentage picked? Freddie. Oh, Freddie, you are here. Nice. Backline. Where is your backline? Oh, back here. Just Wanganeen, Malera, Whitfield, Rosie, Coleman, Ewan. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a work of art. You know, I think it's really good. I think it's super safe. Everything. We did the old AI search on Coleman. I thought I heard that he got a bit injured or a twinge, so I did the old AI search on him, and it said no. Everything apparently is going swimmingly. He loves it. The new game style should suit him, as long as he's definitely a bit more competition for positions in that spot. But if it looks like he's best 23 and he plays round 1, locked in my team. Ewan, the same. If he plays round 1, or he plays round 0, they both play round 0. So they play round 0 and then they play round 1 and they play the positions they think they're going to get. They'll both be in my team. So I think that's fine. And Grill having the DPP action here is fine, is good. I would like, you've got Carmichael as well. So I think you probably, unless something different we hear him, you probably have to get rid of Carmichael. But always try and get the mid, this guy down here, Grill down here. So then if you need to get Rosie into the midfield, you can. And I have to tell you what, I'm seriously considering that position where I've got, just don't want to crap on about my team when we talk about this position where I've got Brayshaw, seriously considering putting Rosie here, or even here where Merritt is. Say I could put Rosie here and have the McKercher types back here. If McKercher comes out and says, or Bergman or Nick Newman comes out and says, Shauno, you must pick me. I just scored 120 every practice match in round 0 if they're playing it. You know, you must pick me. That's exactly what I'm going to do, crew. I'm going to drop one of these guys. I'm going to chuck Rosie in the middle and I'll put that guy in the back line. And I'll have like Sinclair, Whitfield and a McKercher or a whoever it is here. And why I'll do that, and I'll have one of the back swap guys like the Grill back here. And then, because I'm pretty sure that Rosie is going to be right there in the top 6 defenders at the end of the season. When I find out what midfielder I want, or a midfielder like Brayshaw goes down to 150 or to 550, or Finn Callahan does, or Bailey Smith plays his bye, pass his bye, I'll just whack Rosie back there and pick up whoever I want in these spots. That's a sneaky little plan that Shauno's got in the back of his head, which may happen. So, yep, I love your back line. Out of all your lines, I like your back line the best, to be honest. And I kind of like your midfield as well. Parrish, yeah, we're going to have to get him if he plays, but he scares the living bejesus out of me. The living bejesus out of me. Shawnee man, this would be you, I'd assume. Can we guys... Ooh, okay, we can kind of see this. Can you guys see it? Maybe not. A bit like this. Okay, so Whitfield, Rosie, McKercher, Ewan, Farrow, Taylor. I like it. I like it. Like I said, McKercher, he could be a burn man. He could be... Let's bring it up again.
It's a trap!
But I don't think it is. It's only a trap if he plays the first few in the back line and they put him in the midfield. Then it's a trap or on the wing. Butters, Brayshaw, Finn Callahan. Yep. Again, if for some miracle Bont leaves my team, this is what my midfield could look like. Ashcroft, I think it's an interesting pick. Track Watcher stays doing very well. Steele, we talked about Steele. Again, a very interesting pick. Thing I ask you here are these two top 8 midfielders? In my brain, they're not. In my brain, these are both trades. So Hayden, Young, Parrish, Smith, deep. You're going deep in the midfield. Gawn and English seems reasonable. Doesn't have the early bye, and new rules could favour him. Sheasel, Flanders, Philippou, Marshall, Dobston, and Robertson. Nice. Yep, nice. A little bit light on the midfield, on the forward line. Deep in the midfield though, which again is not always the way. I think you'll find if you went back and looked at all the teams, the winners, starting teams from the past years, I certainly know the teams that I've had started better. At the ones I've gone deep in the midfield and gone light in the back and the forward line are the years I haven't done that well. Last year, because we had so many bargains like the Caleb Daniel in the forward line, I think was a bit of a anomaly that we had so many mid-price and good bargains in the forward line. Where this year, I mean, Dobston sounds like he's going to play. Don't think he's going to score very much. Robertson, hope he plays, but there's no guarantee he's going to play. And don't forget the Mini McWalter. If Minnie McWalt, if he plays and we don't win, which we probably aren't going to, we are the Eagles, there's just as likely he's like, well, I'll give Finn McRae a run. I'll give Schoenberg a run. You know, I'll give a rookie guy a run. You know, that's the only problem. I really would like to see consistency out of these Eagles cheapies, but I can't see Minnie McWalter changing his tune. Gordon English, yeah, that round 16 bye. If we have a look at the buys again, crew. If you want a copy of this, go to my Discord. The two buys, I'm calling them the bastard buys. The bastard buys are this one, round 12. Like, look at all these players. I want Butters. I want Rosie. I potentially want Bergman. Oh, look. Oh, Shauno, do you want McKercher? Yeah, I want McKercher. Do you want Sherry? Oh, yeah, I want Sherry. Don't mind LDU either. Oh, yeah, maybe Harry Sheasel. Oh, Gold Coast. Do you want Anderson? Yeah, I want Anderson. Do you want Christian Petrarca? You know, do you want Rao? Oh, yeah, maybe. And then over here, oh, do you want Jordan Dawson? Yeah, he does. And they did this on purpose, just to screw over the super coaches. So none of these teams play. So only this one. It's the only one. Gold Coast are the only team that play round 0. So all these players that we want who aren't playing round 0, they're all off on this same bye, which is a gigantic pain in the ass. But we're going to have to live with it. And that's why I'm very, very conscious when picking my team. How many people are out on this bye? And I'm trying to be no more than 5. And if I've got 6, if I bring McKercher into my team and make 6, whoever the 6th guy is, I have to be planning to trade him. So McKercher, I have to see as an upgrade to someone else, to like a Nas, if I get him before this bye. So that's why if I put Connor Rosie in the midfield, like my plan, I could always sell McKercher. McKercher makes 100 grand. Sell McKercher, put Connor Rosie back, and then get Nas or someone. But what if McKercher's scoring 100 to 115 every week? What do you do then? You're not going to get rid of him. What if you got Bergman and he's scoring 105 every week? What are you going to do? Get rid of him? So, and then, yeah, round 16, you got Bont, you got English, you got Sinclair, you got Nas, you got Flanders, you got Gorn. If you got Steele, you got Steele. Here you got Holmes, you got, Bailey Smith. Those two are bruisers. They are bruisers, those two buys. This buy I can live with. I've got some Freo guy. I might have Dacos. Maybe at Walsh. Probably don't have any Hawthorn players. So, not too bad. Here, maybe I'd want Dunkley. Maybe I want McCluggage. Maybe you want Merritt. Here, if you got Goulden. Here, I don't think you got any primos for the Eagles, let's be honest. Maybe you got Heaney here. Merritt, Cardwell. So 12 and 16, they're the bruisers. They are the bruisers. 2 WA games, yep. Sell your soul. I don't mind. About time the bloody Eagles didn't have to fly halfway across the world every week. About time. 4 players in round 16 so far. Reckon who you'll have? Yeah, I think 4 is so. Yeah, like I said, you don't really want any more than 5. I think 4 is reasonable. I think a top 18, 4 is reasonable. But that means if you want Nas, if I've got Sinclair and Whitfield, I ain't getting Nas till round 17. Doesn't matter how good he is. Doesn't matter if Nas comes out and scores 150 every week. If I don't start him, I cannot get him to round 17. So, not unless one of the others gets injured. If a Whitfield gets injured or if a Sinclair gets injured. So I like this team. Very nice. Very nice. How many does he have round 12? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5. Don't want him any more than that. And for round 16, he's got 1. Only count the premiums. 2. Only 2. So pretty safe. 2, 3. 3 with Steele. So I think that's something where you really got to keep your eye on. Cripps for Brownlow. All right, Cripps. How are you, mate? Snoop Dogg. Good friends with Snoop Dogg, are you? If you're in chat, make yourself known, buddy. Actually, guys, I'm going to be 2 seconds and I'll be right back. So watch some footy and I'll be right back. And then we're going to do Crips. I don't know who this is from. Oh, Crips is from you. Okay, cool. We'll do, I think we've got this team, and then we'll have a bit of chat. We'll have a bit more of a chat, and we'll see how we go. Blue Baggers, it's you. All right, so I'll be 2 seconds. I'll be right back, and then we're going to do your team, mate.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go.
All right, I'm back. Oh, by the way, crew, I made another league. So our first two 20-person leagues filled up. This is the last one I'm going to make. So if you want to get into there, jump into the league, and that would be awesome. Like I said, if you're also in the Discord, if you're interested in cash leagues, let me know. And there is a section there, so just let me know. If we get enough people, we'll do a cash league or two. And drafts, I don't usually like to draft until we see the practice match, or at least the pre-season matches. We will do some of those, and I'll let you guys know. The drafting, I think if you draft now, it's a bit early, and then you get a player gets injured and you get a bit screwed. If you pick Jordan Clark and then you find out this injury, he's not coming back for the rest of the season, you're a bit screwed. So at least if we do it close to the season, like the week before round 0, I'll probably do a couple. And if anyone's interested in those, I'll be letting you guys know when it's closer to the time. Goad for round 3. Pure, I'm not sure, mate. I did hear some rumours. Who they were talking about? Goad is North Melbourne. Is that correct? They think that Sherry might not get down the field quick enough. Is that correct? I know they were talking. Someone else. I was watching another stream where they were talking about Coleman Jones for North Melbourne, maybe getting a few more ruck, the ones that Sherry can't get to. Go. Did I get that completely wrong, or is he North Melbourne? Yep. Hey, Sean, I got something right. It's always nice when you get something right, isn't it? All right. So we lost a few viewers there, but when we have to run off for a few seconds, that kind of happens. Don't forget, if you're still around, or if you watch this in the future, please like and subscribe, and join us for the next live video. These are lots of fun. How long have we been going so far? We've been going a while. Yeah, we've been going a while. Anyway, Wanganeen, Malera, Whitfield, Coleman, Grill, Farrow, and Gibcus. Sarong and Jacks. I think this is nice. And Blue Bags, ready? All right, this is you, right? Like your defense, mate. I think it's good. It's a bit on the cheapy side, but you've got the two big dogs. Toby Green get back to midfield again. Never again, Corey. I got him last year in the season, just when he last started to look good, and then he got suspended, and he got injured and suspended. Never again on my never again list. Was a very high placed player suggested it to me. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I can afford him, and I got him. And I'm not blaming that guy. I'm a big boy and I make my own decisions. And it failed miserably. So Toby, where's Toby Green going to play midfield? You got Oliver there. You got Callahan. You got Tom Green. Toby Green ain't playing midfield. You got that Brent Daniels kid they're trying to get in the midfield as well. Toby Green might wander past the midfield every once in a while, but they need him to score goals. He's not going in the midfield for any prolonged period. Rumour. That's a pre-season rumour if I've ever heard one. Don't let that sit. Don't. All right, where is it? We need it. We need it.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Thank you, Admiral Akbar. Annual Akbar? That was close. It's close to a Freudian slip. All right, Blue Baggers. Sorry, we got sidetracked. Admiral Akbar will do that to you. Bontempelli, Butters, Finn Callahan. I love this. The Rosie in the midfield. You're a man. You the man. You are the man. This is exactly what I'm talking about with Grill in the back line. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I could do this exact same thing. This is what my midfield could look like. Probably no steal there, but maybe, depending on the preseason games. Just at the value. But having Rosie here, whether he's Gibbscus is there or Rosie is back there, is I'm thinking a genius move. He doesn't have the early buy, gives you the freedom to move him around, and you don't know all the big dog midfielders that you really want have an early buy. So have Rosie here, have Rosie there, and then get him back and get the big dog midfielders after the buy. I love it. I love it. Young, Sharp, Will Brodie, standard rookies is all. Get rid of, no, you never don't get rid of Rosie. If anything, you get rid of Steele for Walsh. Because Rosie's possibly, the reason you're putting Rosie in your midfield is because you think he's going to be a top 6 in the back line. You don't think he's going to be a top 6 in the midfield. What you're waiting for is a chance to swing him back to the back line. You've got your top 6 man that you don't have to waste a trade on. And then you're going to pick up who you think is going to be in the top 6 in the midfield. Or the top 8 in the midfield. That's why I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it to take advantage of the early buys. And I'm doing it to make sure that I get the midfielder that I want. And keeping who I consider a top 6 defender. So that's why I like it. So if it was me, I'd even go Callahan for Walsh. Not because I think Walsh will score more than Callahan. I think Callahan is going to be an absolute beast this year. I just look at his scores from last year. You know, just look at his scores from the second half of last year. And since I sold him last year, I'm afraid to get him for the rest of the community. I got him. He had a few down games. I got rid of him. He had the best season of his life. What happens if I buy him this season? I could ruin him for the entire community. So maybe I'll try not to do that for you guys. Steele, Young, Sharp, Brodie, very nice. Gawn and Sherry. I like the big dogs. If I could afford it, I'd be doing this. I think they're going to score the most. I don't know. I don't think they're going to hold this value the whole season. The problem with it is it only takes a bit of an injury, a down game, even a knock, and you have to go and sit a quarter. You go and get your legs strapped on the sideline for like a quarter, and then you spend some time up forward, and your money plummets. But at the end of the season, likelihood of these two guys being the top 2 guys, I think it's high. I think it's very, very high. Having Clary there will help Finn. He'll have both Tom Green and Clary feeding Finn the ball. That's why I like him too. He hasn't just got one grunty inside mid getting the ball. Now he's got 2. Yeah, I like it a lot. That's why if it wasn't for the early buy, he'd be locked in my team. If it wasn't for the hanging on, he's on that same damn buy in the early ones as the St Kilda players and, you know, the Sinclairs and Whitfields and Flanders, which it means I'd have 4 out, which is a problem. Darcy, I think this is interesting. No Sheasel, you got to have Sheasel, mate. Fading Sheasel is, with so many people have him, I think is not great. Pay the extra for Sheasel instead of Darcy. Darcy looks awesome. He could be really good. If you could get Darcy as your 3rd big gun, the only problem is with Darcy is if he doesn't get the goals. He looks really good. Can the Bulldogs midfield get him the ball? If the Bulldogs midfield can get him the ball enough, he will get huge scores. And he'll probably get you 150 one week, but then he might get you 80 the next. Exactly the same as last season. So the good thing is he might ruck a little bit. When English is the most mobile ruck though, so English probably will get down there for a lot of rucks. But when he doesn't, Darcy might ruck. So he might pick up a few extra points there. I don't mind it, but I think it's You could get him cheaper, or he could score you 150. It could go both ways. Isn't Rob supposed to be the smartest man in the AFL? Rob? I don't think any of us can work out the new ruck rules. I did that whole video on it, and I still don't know. That's bad. I did that whole video on, you know, if you haven't watched it, go back and check it out. I asked AI, and I did a whole video. I did it all for myself. I was like, this is really interesting. I have to tell the community. And I still don't know what I'm doing. But I know if there was no new rules, I'd be picking these two. And I still might. Because I got a feeling you have to trade into them anyway. You know, do I want to burn a trade? How much is a trade worth? Most of us, I mean, I'll say most of us, a lot of us ran out of trades last year. You know, I know I watched a lot of other content creators. A lot of them ran out of trades. And I ran out of trades for the first time ever. And I've only had 40 for a couple of years now. I went trade crazy. Yeah, I think this year I'm going to go back to my old plan, which is, because I like my leagues as well, coming out of the buys and coming into the finals, when there's 4 games left the season for the finals of your leagues and of the season, I want minimum 4 trades, 4 to 6 trades. Minimum. You know, want 6, 4 is probably not enough. So the best I can do to not be making sideways trades during the season, and that's why it scares me about people like Steele. If he's not a top 8 midfielder, say he scores average of 105, that's really good for 510. But you're still going to want to trade him for someone scoring 110 or 115. Or he's not getting the, he's shown in the past he can get spike scores, but say this year he doesn't do it. And he's just getting a bit old, he just, you know, doesn't do it. Or the new in and under, the new rules who are, you know, slightly disadvantaging the in and under guys affect him a little bit. Instead of getting a 130 or 140, he gets a 115 or a 120 as his big scores, or 125 as his big score. But Dacos is scoring 150. Finn Callahan is scoring 140 every week. You're going to want those guys, and you're going to want to trade. If you don't have those guys, when it comes to your leagues in the season, you're probably going to lose. And, you know, and if you're pushing for the top 100 or 1,000 or whatever you're aiming for, you don't have to be pushing for the top 10. You know, you set your whatever you're aiming for. I always set top 10%. If I have a top 10% year, I'm happy. Anything lower than that, it's grumpy Sean. But if I get top 10%, I'm happy. Anything above that is gravy. You know, gravy on the mashed potatoes. I am. Chuck your team in my Discord if you like, buddy. We still got time. Fina Rini. Sorry. All right, we'll do it. However you say your name.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Thank you, Ralph Wiggum. All right. Depending on matchups, yep. I think hopefully I think, Corey, that they're not going to play him in the back line too much. We would like that because we know he's probably guaranteed that's where he's going to get his highest scores. I think North are really looking for, Corey, you're a North man, aren't you? Aren't you guys? You're really looking for a replacement for someone then down the back. That's why you're looking at McKercher. That's why you had Daniel last year. You want someone to free Sheasel up to be the mid forward, the mid goal scoring, where he's the most dangerous. I don't think playing Sheasel back is going to be that beneficial for North Melbourne. Play the man in the mid and forward and let him hurt teams. So as we talked about, probably still got paces in that 20 league. I just made it today. Sign up now. That's going to be the last one. That makes 3 YT leagues, 1, 2, and 3. I got really creative with the names. So, yep, sign up and kick Shauno's ass. It probably won't be too hard. I don't know, I had a pretty good season last season, so maybe this is a down season for Shauno. Who knows? The second year blues for streaming for Shauno in the season. Everyone predicting a second year dip in the Shauno score. Do you want to chuck your team in there, however you say your name, Fina Ferrini, and in Discord. Go to Discord, and you post your team here, and I will definitely review it. And we'll stay on for a little bit longer and see if anybody else turns up. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? We talked about the rookies. If you're just joining now and you want to see my team, this is what my team looks like. Like, I have to say, I love that. Say I'm going to do what our friend has got done here. So we got Farrow, but we can also put in, say you put in Grill here. I do love this technique, I have to admit. And so instead of having, so have my backline look something like this. Say one of these, say these rookies are all very reliable. Is that going to be the case? No. Well, I've got 460k here. So one of these rookies, say Gibbs, because he could be very reliable, but I don't know if he's going to score that much. So say we took him out and we put in McKercher. McKercher just destroys it in the preseason games and says, you must pick me. Or Bergman, or Nick Newman. One of them just says, listen, I scored 120 in every game I played. I played that back role. You know, this is what I'm going to do. So we'll have like the McKercher there. That will be what my backline looks like with whoever of these guys plays. Whoever's playing out of these guys. Bont, Butters, Brayshaw, or whoever, or the Finn Callahan. I got Brayshaw here because he's not playing the early bye as well, and I think he'll be good. Rosie, he's not my midfielder. He's just hanging out there in the midfield. He's just hanging out, and he's just waiting to handball the guy to the Finn Callahans of the world, to the Dacos of the world. You know, Dacos gets tagged in the first few weeks, all of a sudden he's at 540 or something like that. I'm like, some rookie's gone up. Some rookie's blowing up, and he's like, Schoenberg's played a few games. He's gone up 150k or 200k, and then Minimum Walter does a Minimum Walter and drops him. We'll drop Schoenberg down. Swap good old, you know, Rosie back into the back line, and then maybe make a Farrow who's gone up, or a Sharp, or if we've got a Parrish in here somewhere. Like, I can go pretty deep in the midfield here as well. Instead of one of these guys, I can almost, can I afford Parrish? 150. Close. With a bit of shaving here and there, maybe. But, yeah, so that, I think, I like this plan. I do like this plan. So, you know, even instead of him here, I think we could almost afford, with just under Parrish's price, I think. But like we said before, we might need some of these more expensive rookies. So it could really look like, oh, why can't I see him? That's why, because I can't spell. That's why, because Sean and I can't spell. That's why we can't see him. So, like I said, if Euland comes out, if he takes, even looks like he's going to take a kick in, if he just breathes on a kick in and gets a score of 75 plus, I'll put him in my team. And so then there's the money. And then again is another time where I can get, you know, where it might pay to have Rosie. I don't need to pay up for one of these big guys in the midfield. More mid-time this year. The thing is, Corey, he already plays mid. He just doesn't play inside mid. He plays wing mid, which is still mid. You know, when you look at the teams line up and it says centre, the guy in the centre is the centre, and the two guys on either side, and the mids are still mids, or they're still centres. They just play the wing. Do they really want him being the in and under grunt guy? Maybe. If he was, he's definitely a valid pick. You know, definitely a valid pick. So I do like him. Like, the only thing turns me off as a little bit is that potentially up and down scoring a little bit, and the fact that he's got the early bye. So if I was to take out Brayshaw and put him in, this is what I do all day, crew. If I was to do this, like we even had Merit in there like 5 minutes ago. I don't mind Merit either. Merit could be good. If there's any, don't get me wrong, if I knew that Merit wasn't going to play in the back line, I'd put Merit in my team at that price. No early buy, 580k, potential huge ceiling. I think Merit is a sneaky one. He displayed it last year. Yeah, well that's just it, Masturbator. He bolts from the wing. He doesn't stay on the wing. He bolts from the wing for the centre bounces and throw-ups. And then the ball, like the Heenies and the under guys, get the ball out to him, which is different from some of the other wing guys who just hang around on the wing. So not only does he bolt in there and get it, but he also gets all the transition up and down the field. And they love to use him. And he's so good in that position, which I wonder, why are you going to... I mean, maybe it is valid to have him in there as well. I don't know. I'd probably have him in there if I was the coach. They're Big Dean Cox. Big Coxie. But, you know, I mean, looks... The only thing is, if he doesn't work out, it's a trade. If he doesn't work out, it's a trade. Whereas I think if I have to pick someone in this spot, I prefer someone that I want to guarantee myself it's not a trade. Like Finn Callahan. There's no guarantees in Supercoach, but I think there's more certainty in Finn Callahan's role than there is in Errol Goulden's role. And I think he can score just as much as Errol Goulden for 40k more, and he's almost guaranteed being in the top 8 to top 10, you know. If you go by the last half of last season and the inclusion of Oliver to that team, I think it's hard to see him not in the top 8. Where maybe Goulden is top 8 to top 12 to 14. We talked about, you mean the Gold Coast dude? What's his face? Jamar Hagen. This guy. I think at his price he's very tempting, and I think he's the same book as Cooper Duff Tyler, where he's a key forward, which I don't like. But if he's a key forward that takes a few ruck contests, because the game's a bit quicker and the ruck doesn't get down there. So what happens when the ball shoots down the sideline, you know, Finn for the Eagles, what's his face, or from, say, Witts is in the back line and he takes a ruck contest, and then all of a sudden the ball shoots down, goes down really quickly, and it goes out of bounds in the forward 50. Witts is not getting there. Flynn's not getting there. So someone's got to take it. And so Jamar Hagen is a giant. So he'll probably take it for them. And Cooper Duff Tyler will probably take it for the Eagles. Just how often does that happen? So that's do they beat whoever's there at that side? Like, one thing if he takes a hit out, but if he doesn't get a hit out to advantage, it's not going to get him much points anyway. Good thing I like about Duff Tyler is I hear he's pretty mobile. He might just do the old Natanui style where he scoops him off the ground and smacks a goal through, which makes me warm and fuzzy inside really to think about that. Anderson, I don't have Rao, but I want one of those Gold Coast guys in my team for the beginning of the season. Petrarca, anyone, I don't know if you guys watched not many people did, so I'd be surprised if you did, but watched my spotlight video I did on Petrarca. Do you know in 2024, he had a very, very serious injury where I think it was Darcy Moore kneed him in the ribs. He broke 3 or 4 ribs, ruptured his spleen, and punctured a lung. And it wasn't just like, oh, I'll go home and put some straps on and be all right. No, he went to hospital and it was like life-threatening type injury. And so he spent whole of 2024, the second half of the season out. Then at the beginning of 2025, he gets hit again, the same side, in the ribs, cracks another rib. Now, I forgot to mention, in that game where all the broken ribs and the spleen and everything, The guy comes back on, keeps on playing. I mean, this guy's like the Terminator. He just rolled back on the field and kept on playing. We haven't heard that in the last 20, 30 years in football, where players are playing with, you know, broken bones left, right, and centre. He wasn't just a few broken bones. The guy was pretty much crushed. So this is a tough guy. And so that last season, you know, he wasn't even that, you know, he couldn't have been in his best form. I know he's getting a bit older, but coming back from that injury and then getting hit again, he can't be in his best form. Plus, he was at Melbourne. Like, Clayton Oliver's not really doing the Clayton Oliver things and getting him the ball anymore like he used to. You know, he was probably the number one man and copying all the attention. I think he goes to Gold Coast. He's not the number one man anymore. They got Rao and Anderson. They're probably tagging Rao and Anderson. They're not tagging Petrarca. If he gets more than, you know, 60% CBAs, he could go huge. Like some of his scores in the past, he was a top 4, I think a top 6 midfielder 2 or 3 years running. So you got an opportunity to get a top 6 midfielder in the forward line who's just had a couple of injury affected seasons. I'm hot on Petrarca. As long as he has an uninterrupted pre-season, you know, as long as he gets CBA times, and if they're putting Torque Miller behind the ball, it makes me even happier, except for maybe that means he goes a little bit more forward to kick goals. But I think, why wouldn't you put Humphreys forward and keep Petrarca? I'm super hot on Petrarca. Once I did that spotlight, I've put him in my team and I've thrown away the key. A couple of those spotlights, like the spotlight on Whitfield, I put him in my team and threw away the key. Petrarca, put him in my team, I've thrown away the key. Unless I hear something different, like a man who's that tough, you can't tell me at 30 that he can't go into the midfield and crack heads with the best of them. I think he's going to be... I think the only thing I don't like is I think in round 0 he's going to destroy, you know, get 120 and everyone's going to pick him. And then my, you know, speculative pick, which is not really, because I think about 40% of the comp owned him, is not going to be as cheeky as it might be. Yeah, that was dumb way he came back on. It should have been out of the game. But how tough is that, Corey? Like, what a monster. When was the last time you heard anything like that? When Dimmer back in the days for Hawthorn, Domenico broke half his ribs and came on and played half a game. You just don't hear that in the modern game. And I know it's not smart. He could have died if he had probably got a kick in the spleen or in the punctured lung. If he had punched his lung, it'd be worse. He might have been dead. But how tough is that man? He's getting in my team just because how tough he is. That's why he's in my team. I love it. I love it. I hate the fact they kept him on, but I love how tough he is. All right, let's have a look at your team, buddy. Where is it? You posted your team. Where'd you post it? Did you post it in the Post My section here? I'm not seeing it, mate. Oh, I see. Finn, this is you then. This will be you. This will be you. All right, Finn, let's have a look. Out of respect, pure. He's getting in there because he's getting in out of respect. And what help did he have at Melbourne? What was Clayton Oliver doing? I don't want to say the naughty things that I want to say. I'm trying to be very well behaved. I used to stream a lot on Twitch where I wasn't very well behaved, but I'm trying to be well behaved. You know, not comment on what, you know, maybe Clayton Oliver was doing on the sidelines. But he wasn't getting any help, and he was a number 1 man. Now he's a number 3 man. And I know he's 30, but he's a tough guy. He's playing in the midfield, and we can get him in his forward line. And he wasn't just a midfielder back in the days. He was a top 4 midfielder, a top 6 midfielder in past seasons, like averaging massive 120s. I mean, maybe the new rules don't help him the best, but he's got Rao there. You know, Rao's getting him the ball. It's in and under. I think he could be very good. All right, Finn, let's have a look at your name. Finn is a lot easier than what that your name is on the chat. Sorry, mate. Sinclair, McKercher, Ridley. Whoa, that's an interesting one. How many percentage of people own Ridley? More than 2%? I think it's a nice pod. The price is right. He's cheaper than the McKercher and the Bergmans of the world. He's done it before. I think it's very risky, though. I'd want to see something in the preseason that makes me think to pick Ridley. This reminds me of I'd be thinking back to a Perryman or a Jordan Short. A Jordan Short who, Jaden Short, who did it before, who I had in my team last year. I think it's a trap. Where are you, Admiral Akbar?
It's a trap.
The thing about this is, if you're going a pod, it's better to go a pod. Well, if you're going a value option, it's better to go a value option that everybody's going, like a McKercher or a Bergwijn, because if it fails for everybody. But if this fails, you're the only one that's got him, and you're going to have to, do something about it. If you've got enough money in the bank, how much money do you have in the bank, Finn? If you could get this up to a big dog, I'm all over it. 1% for Ridley, yeah. I'm not a huge fan unless you saw something. Maybe McGrath moves to the midfield full time and Ridley is the man again back there. If I saw something to say, really pick him. But on last year, I don't know. I don't think it's like a Newman, where Newman was injured and he's out for 1 year, like pretty much injured, and he comes back and he has a proven record. Ridley has a proven record, but last year he just didn't perform. And he played quite a bit. Oh, he was a bit injured, wasn't he? He's been a bit injured as well, so maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but I'd want to see something, that really says to me this is a good pick. I'd probably prefer a Newman or a Bergman, just because more the pack are going there, and that, and I guess that doesn't make it a pod, does it? But I don't know, risky. If the risk pays off, great. If he comes out and scores, but even then, is he going to be? What's he there for? He's there to make you some money, and you think he's going to get you a 90? If that's what you think, he's going to get you 90 a match plus, and he's going to make you 120k. If he gets to 550, beautiful. I'm behind it. If you think he's a keeper, I don't think he's a keeper. If you think he can score you 105, 100 plus a game, I don't know if he can. That's just it. I think McKercher with the right role, or a Bergman with the right role, can score 100 plus, just over 100 or 100. A Nick Newman can score over 100. Don't know if Ridley can. Awkward price, yeah. Hey, if he was 318, yeah. Yep, 318. I think I'd be into it. Bont, Butters, Dacos, Callahan. That's a beautiful sight. That's a very lovely looking midfield. I can see where your money went. Young, Parry, Sharp, Smith with the usual rookies. Nice, solid, deep midfield. Fine. Sherry, English. Same as me. Same as a lot of people out there. I think on the safe side. Sheasel, Flanders. Now I'm going to screw up his name, so get Ralph Wiggum ready. Rochelle, we're just going to give it to me.
Me fail English?
That's impossible.
Impossible.
So, and Hugo Hagen. So, here's interesting. This is interesting. If we see him play a lot of midfield time, there's that talk. There's also, he's right around the price of, has anyone got Connor McDonald in their team? Now, I'm not brave enough to take both of these guys, because I think they are also, both of them have the same issue to me. They're potential breakouts, but they haven't done it before. And like a Treloar is I've done it before, but I'm injured and haven't done it lately. These guys have never done it. They've never gone and produced those scores that we would expect. So at this price, I don't think I can take a gamble on them without seeing some serious preseason information to back it up. For like 60-70% times CBAs and all the pre-games, scoring 90 plus, okay, I'm interested. And same for Connor McDonald, okay, I'm interested. If he comes out and gets 50% CBAs and gets a 80, nah, I don't know if I'm interested. He needs to do 97 average to make 100 count, 100 game. Yeah. So will Ridley get 97 average? I don't know if he will. Has anyone got the Rochelle or a I think I'll put Connor McDonald in there the same. I think Connor McDonald's 380. They're both more expensive than like the Tree Laws of the world or the Connor Buderick that I have. That's why I like Connor Buderick, because he's cheaper than all of these guys. And even though he's not earmarked for a midfield role, I think he can score less and go up more. I don't know if Rochelle or McDonald end up being full-time in the mid all the time. They could be a top 6 forward, but I just haven't seen it yet. You have 75k, so that's nice. You could always go down here if you want, and potentially up with Ridley, so you could get up to a big dog. If you went down here to a Buderick or another rookie, if you are super risky, you could do a Cooper Duff, something like that, and go up Ridley to a Whitfield or a Nas or a Ash or whoever you like here. Fine, but yeah. You feel he's a safe pick, Jay Wilson, if he plays mid-time? That's the question. If he plays, and how much? So, same with McDonald. I need to see it. I'm not putting in my team until I see it. You have to force your way into my team, just like a normal football team. I put the guys on, got the runs on the board who I believe can do it. But if you're playing really good in the top 2s, or you force your way into your team, well then you can, then you're going to force your way into my team. So again, I think maybe a little bit deep in the midfield, you might need some more midfield rookies to, get that cash gen flowing. But I do like it. A couple of risks. Rochelle, it's not cookie cutter. A lot of teams out there are cookie cutter. Mine's probably a bit cookie cutter, but a couple of risks. You can pivot. As I said, these are still all preseason teams. So you get a look at the preseason games starting February 20th. So that's not very far away. It's like 10 days away or something till we get to see some preseason matches. And Shauno will be signing up to KO the day before they start to make sure he can watch those matches. And round 0, we get the one good thing about early buys. They're a pain in the ass, but we do get to see round 0, which in some ways is good. We get to see our players, but also it means a lot of teams are going to be very similar. Like I talked about, if my mate Mr. Christian Petrarca comes out and scores 120 in round 0, probably everyone is going to get him. Set February 16th. Maybe I thought it was the 20th. Which one's that? Jay Wilson, you have to see it. No worries, Finn. And I always like to say I've done very well as well. I've done reasonably well in Supercoach over the years, but I'm not an expert, and that's why we're all here. We're all here to talk. It's not just my opinion. We want to get Chat's opinion too. We discuss things, we talk about it, we have different opinions, and then we try and come up with the best solutions for everyone in the community. And then you can listen to what we say, or you can completely ignore us and do whatever you like. No rules say you have to listen to us, but the thing is, we're having a discussion, and that's the good thing. We can have a nice discussion about it. Sticky, you put your team in. Please put your team where it says post your team here, if you could, guys. But no big deal. I'll forgive you, Sticky. All right, Sticky, are you in chat, mate? What's the time? How are we going? We've been on for 2.5 hours. This will be the last team, crew. We'll do this team, and then that's a pretty long stream. But thank you all again. If you are watching now and you haven't already sub, please like. And if you're watching this in the future, still sub and still like, and you can leave a comment down below. All those things, they help me out a lot. I know I don't like having to beg for likes and subs, but it's one of the things you have to do. Maybe one day we'll get to be like one of the big boy streamers and get to 1,000, like all my favorites. And hopefully, maybe one day Shauno will join the big boys, and maybe might even get to be invited into one of their streams. I can get off the kiddies table instead of sitting at the kiddies table. Maybe I'll get to sit at the grown-ups tables. But for now, Shauno's at the kiddies table, and we will go. We'll continue there. going next Friday, North versus Melbourne. That's going to be an interesting one to watch, Corey. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. I'm going to be at work, but I'll probably be able to watch that, so I'm signing up before then. Well, I looked at the AFL, I didn't see that, so I'm going to go and look after this. All right, you are here. Is this Sticky? This is you, Sticky? Cap? So, Sinclair, Whitfield, Rosie, McKercher, Farrow, Taylor. Love it. Looks extremely nice and juicy backline. Love it a lot. Butters, Dacos, Finn Callahan, Young, Parrish, Grill, Sharp, Smith. I like that a lot too. No Bont, but you've got the big dogs there and you're saving a bit of money by not having Bont. All the respectable rookies of the world. All your primos, I'm tipping to be top 8 at the end of the season, so I love it. This is your team. Excellent. Sherry English, yes, very nice. White, like I said, I don't know if I'll be looking for a playing play here, but who knows, I might need the money. We might have to do this, but I think saving the money before the season starts and giving away the cash gen that a player like a Reedy or a Duff Tyler might make might bite you on the back end. Might look good on your starting team, but might bite you on the back end. Sheasel, Petrarca, Flanders, Philippou, Marshall, Lombard. Yeah, I love the look of your team. And Colbin in the flex. Yeah, it's a really strong team. It's a really strong team, and I like the look of it. And if this was my team, for what we know now, going to round 1, I'd be very happy, to tell you the truth. You got any info on this rookie? This rookie here, the Alga dude out of Richmond? You hearing things that we don't know about? You got anything to share with the community, buddy? Got any secrets you'd like to share with us? Have you been down to Richmond training or something? But no, I really like the team. I think it's a very solid starting team. And like we always say, you don't win Supercoach with starting teams. It's about trading. So even having one of those ex-winners, which appeared on the Swordplay Supercoach interviews, said they don't mind having a bit of a cookie cutter team to start off with, because your trades is what's going to make you, your trades are what's going to make you win. Which is kind of why, as a streamer, I don't mind showing you my team. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to encourage anyone to copy my exact team at the beginning of the season, and I will show my team in the week, coming up to lockout, and it might change by lockout, but I'm not going to purposely change it to try and trick people or anything. Just might hear some sneaky news or, change my mind like I always do. But I'm not going to win or lose on my starting team. You get a good start. I mean, maybe the better way to say it is you're not going to win Supercoach with your starting team. You can lose Supercoach with your starting team if you pick like a massive amount of mid-prices, or a whole lot of rookies that aren't playing, or a whole lot of, midfield, like primos that you have to trade out the season. You can destroy your team before you start Supercoach, but you can't, you can lose, but you can't win. This team would be a very solid start, and then, shit goes down, Parrish goes out, you can pivot. If you find that over here McKercher isn't what you thought he was, you can pivot. You've got places to go. You're also backing yourself. Everyone's got Parrish, you've got Parrish. Everyone's got McKercher, you've got McKercher. A lot of people, everyone's got Butters. If he goes bad, you got it. Sherry in English, the same. Everyone's got Sheasel. A lot of people got Petrarch. Everyone's got Flanders. Nice. And this will be probably kind of what my team looks at the beginning. If I'm picking a pod, it's not going to be that big a pod. Like my pod at the moment is Whitfield, who a lot of people who have had the teams today have had Whitfield, but last time I checked, he was only at 10%. Probably not at 10% any longer, is he? Still only owned by 11%. We've got some very smart people in here, I think. A lot of people that agree with my type of with my conclusions that Whitfield is almost a lock, I think. Thank you so much for that, for showing your team. Anyway, like we said, we're going to call that as the last team. How many? Let's count them. Let's count them. Round 12. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 1, maybe. I think I'm with you. I would like 6. 6 fits my team structure very well. I like 6 for the players, like getting Callahan or the Dacos. Allows me to get Callahan and Dacos in early, but it does worry me. Yeah, we did yours, Jay. Where were you? Where were you? Jai, wasn't it? Jai, we did yours. We'll go back and have a look, but I'm pretty sure we did. We've done everybody, but 6, I would like 5, to be honest. I would like 5, because 6 means, if you've got 5, it means all your primos can be out, and that those 5 primos can be out, and if nobody's injured, then you still have 18 players on the field, right? As soon as you get to 6, it means a rookie has to play. Now, you're already probably going to need rookies, obviously, but say all your rookies, it's a disaster year like last year, and all your rookies are either injured, not playing, you've made some bad trades, and they're like sitting on the bench getting zeros. You don't want to be struggling to get around, struggling to get 18 on the field, or playing rookies that are going to score you 30 points or something. I mean, that's my fear. Whether that comes to, I think last year was a bad rookie year. I've still got PSTD from PSTD, is that correct? From last year's rookies. 6 scares me. 5 I feel is acceptable. If I could get less, I would. But I find that there's so many good players out of that buy that I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. I think I've got 5 or 6 in my team at the moment. Yeah, we did. You definitely did your team. Wanganeen, Malera, Rosie, McKercher, Coleman, Yulin, very solid. Butters, Dacos, Sarong. Like I said, I'm worried Sarong's going to get tagged in the first 6 rounds. There are some good taggers in the teams he's up against, and I think he's the main tag target. Paris, Grill, Smith, Brody, all very nice. Carmichael, because remember we talked about Carmichael, well, like, he's injured. Don't know if he's going to play round 1. You're going to have to make a plan for here. Probably. Hopefully not, but probably. Sherry English, Sheasel, Pickett. We talked about Pickett and how we weren't too sure how he's going to go, but with the depleted Melbourne midfield, I think it could be better than what we expect. What I originally thought might not have been great might end up being better with Pickett. Flanders, Philippou, Marshall, Robertson, and Goulden down here. Oh, you got Goulden on the bench. I don't know if I saw that. That makes your midfield look a lot stronger. Yeah, not too bad. I like it. You go on the mid prices in the midfield. The only thing, I've had this similar designs myself. The only thing is, I'm asking myself, are Sarong and Goulden keepers? And their question is, I'm not too sure. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Anyway, Jai, or Jay Wilson. I think it's Jai, right? We'll call you Jay. All right, Jay. Thank you so much for everybody for watching. Like I said, it's time for Shauno to go and get some food. We've been on a long time. I'm going to try and go through and say thank you to as many people in chat as possible. We've got Jay Wilson, winning and destroy that. We're just going to get Ralph out.
Me fail English?
That's unpassable. This is for everyone's names that I destroy coming up now. K Frissas, Masturbator, been here from the beginning. Thank you so much. Corey, Blackledge, thank you for being here. Rory, didn't call you out before. You will be building his match fitness in the 2s for some time. Had no football for 12 months. Well, interesting. I think all the watchers have said, he looks really good and he might get a game. But if you're right, we don't have to pick him. Ferrarini, thank you. Pure LCD, thank you, Pure. Who else we got? Blues Baggers, thank you so much for being here. Shawnee man, thank you buddy. I know you get around to a lot of the streams, so thanks for dropping by. Freddie Derek, thank you for being here. I don't like cheese mate, you're a legend. Thank you for dropping by. And who else we got? Anybody else? Michael Rubenstein, thanks for dropping by mate. Thank you for everyone who put your teams up and let me review or have a chat about your teams. That was awesome. It was a really great stream. Anybody else who I am missing? If I have missed you, please, I apologize. I always like to do this. You know, it's not like I get millions of people in here, so I like to show my appreciation. Steve Miller, thank you, Steve. And I think that's about it. Apologize if I missed you. Thank you so much if you were here. Thanks for all your support. Last time, the last beg. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. More videos coming out very soon, and more of these live ones coming along soon. Like the video, and if you're watching in the future, leave me a comment on what you think on whether it's my team or some of these other people's teams, or basically whatever you want. And I will talk